All right, we should be live. I think. Yeah, all right, we're all set to go. Welcome, welcome. Should be right about there. Oh, I should add a browser source for the YouTube guests if we get any. Right about there. All right, we should be good to go. Hope everybody's having a good day. Good morning. I know that it's early for some because, you know, it's the way of things. Happy Thursday indeed. All right, we have our first guest. Great. Bring him up. Oh, let me open up my notes. Oops. Talk to Ian Johnson.
Dude, awesome. I've listened to you for a long time and just kind of in the background.
Hey, Ian, how's it going?
So I want to know what you think of 3i Atlas.
Is this on topic?
Yeah. Is it God? Is it aliens? Is it?
It's a comet.
No. The iron, is it manufactured or is it?
It's a comet.
Yeah, but you're a scientist. You're a doctor or you're something smart.
Yep, it's a comet.
No. Okay, so Avi Loeb is wrong, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Like
You
he was
hate
about
Avi Loeb.
like he was the last two times.
All right, can you flirt with it a little bit? Like, what do you think it could be, though, if it wasn't that?
It's a comet
Why did it accelerate?
because of off-gassing.
What about on-gassing?
Get out of here, Ian. All right, let's talk to Chase. Chase, how's it going?
Hey, good morning. What's your name?
You can call me Blitz.
Blitz. Okay,
Yeah.
Blitz.
Chase, do you
going
believe in
on?
God?
Yes, sir.
And which one would that be?
I'm a Christian, so I believe in a triune God.
Okay, works for me. Now, what would you say is like the most compelling thing you could tell an atheist that might bring them over?
Well, first, if I can backtrack and kind of flip the script a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yes, sure.
For you, what would convince you that God exists?
Well, I mean, saying if you said, you know, I had this one personal experience,
Sure.
that would not convince me.
Oh,
On the other hand, if
I was like, wow, you're really open-minded.
I'd be like, okay, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
On the other hand, if Jesus appeared in my living room and then I got out my phone and recorded it, and then my wife came over and got out her phone and recorded it, and like then we checked back the next day and the recording was still there, then that'd probably convince me. So something between those two.
Okay. Wow, that's like a really, really high standard, right? For
Well, no,
Jesus
I mean, like, so I was giving you an example of something that would definitely convince me, and I gave you an example of something that definitely wouldn't convince me. So there's something between there that would convince me.
Okay, I got you. I mean, still, like, the high example is, you know, obviously very high. You know,
Sure.
Jesus, you know, making a self-revelation to you.
Well, I mean, people say it happens to them all the time.
Anybody for thousands of years.
People say it happens to them all the time.
Yeah, people say. But like you said, part of your standard was, you know, recording on your phone, and I don't think that's ever happened.
You're right. I wonder why.
Well, I would say my answer to that, well, is regardless. So I guess, you know, first, you know, I assume you're an atheist.
Yeah, that's what
So
the background
first
says.
I'd have to, you know, talk to you about, you know, the existence of God. Why would I can't convince you of a Christian God if I can't convince you of God in
Probably,
general.
yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I think, this is the classic, it's the cosmological argument, I believe. Everything exists around us, therefore, we know that something can't come into being without a creator, right? And
By
so that's
creator,
where
do
I
you
would
just mean
start.
like a cause?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Like, we could debate over that, but sure, that's fair. Who's to say that the universe came into being?
Well, I mean, by looking at everything around us, right? So we know that there was a beginning,
How do we know
right?
that
We
there
can
was a
agree on
beginning?
that. Well, the universe is expanding. We
Yep.
have, basic laws of physics,
Yep.
right?
Universe
Law
is
of conservation
expanding.
of
How does that
energy.
mean that?
We have the law of entropy, right?
Sure.
We have all those.
How does that
So
get
we
us to a
know that the
beginning?
universe. I mean, you don't disagree that the universe had a beginning, do you?
I do disagree. I don't think it had a
Really?
beginning. I don't even
So
think
you
that makes
that
sense.
the universe is eternal?
Not necessarily.
So if it wasn't eternal, then it had to have been a beginning.
Well, so a beginning kind of implies that there was nothing before and then there was something.
Sure.
I don't think that there was ever
Yeah.
nothing. It's possible that
so-
there was a first moment, but there
So then
wasn't
it was
nothing.
eternal.
There was no notion of before. No, I'm saying that it's
Then-
possible that there was a first moment of time. There could just be a timeless state before that. But that's neither here nor there.
State. That's pretty complicated physics.
I mean, perhaps, but like the point is I don't get how we figured that like there was nothing and then there was something. I don't know how we get to that conclusion.
Well, I mean, we look at the laws of physics around us, and we know that energy is constantly decaying, right? We can agree on that.
That's not really true. Presumably, you mean something about entropy.
Yes, sir.
So entropy is something related to, maybe order. I wouldn't call it decay though.
Okay.
I don't see how that gets us to there was a beginning. There was
Well,
there was nothing and then there was something.
Essentially, how I get to that is by saying, I mean, you kind of disagree with my first premise, and being, the law, energy is decaying around us, right? But
I mean, all that implies. So if that's true, that just means
Sure.
that there is a first moment of time. That doesn't mean that there was nothing and then there was something. You could have a stateless or a timeless state that, in some sense, gave way to the first moment of time, and then you don't have any issues.
So, and that's kind of like, I guess where we're just going to have to, disagree, because, first of all, I don't think that, life, the universe, like that doesn't make sense to me, how something can, time is obviously a concept that we really don't have a great understanding of. We have, ways of measuring it, but to just say like time, our universe existed outside of time, I would have to disagree with that. I would say time exists within our universe.
Well, the claim is that our universe existed, that there was a state of affairs when our universe was existing where there was no time. And then there was a state of affairs where the universe was existing where there was time. I mean, like, this isn't so unfamiliar to you. You think that this is a property that God has, right? God existed outside of time, and then through Jesus, God existed in time.
I believe, yeah, I mean, you could say it that way.
So, I mean, it can't be, like, it's like, maybe it's counterintuitive, but you believe something similar.
No, because I'm saying that the system that we are in is a system that exists inside of time, right?
Well, currently, yeah. Who's to say that that was always the case?
So you're saying that at one point our system, it existed outside of time and then it went inside of time.
I wouldn't say it existed outside of time. I would say that there wasn't time.
Time just didn't exist.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was all space.
So what would you say gave that first moment of time? A big bang, if you will.
Well, so, and by the way, this is not like some unique crazy idea from me. This was originally proposed by Stephen Hawking like 40 years ago.
Sure.
So this is something that like people take seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, the way to think about it is like, maybe I'll just draw a diagram. Would a diagram help?
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna draw a diagram. I love diagrams. One sec. Let me just pop up the, here we go. Make this a little bit smaller. There we go. And then let me pop it up over here. Oh, too big. Too big. Much too big. Okay, diagram. So actually, you know what? I don't even need a diagram. I can just go pull up Stephen Hawking's diagram. So roughly the idea is that there's in some sense in which like there is a type of space that could give way to time. It's called the no boundary proposal by Hartle and Hawking. And there's a really, really good, here we go. Here's the picture that I want. I think it's here. Yeah, there we go. All right, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So the way to think about this, and it's like there's some technical stuff going on in this diagram, but the way to think about it is that like the yellow bit is all space, and the blue bit is space with time. And so it's not like there was some event that caused it. It's just like the way the space-time was it's just like the way the space-time was shaped.
Okay.
See how like the pure space kind of gives rise to time? It gives rise to the place with space and time in like a smooth, continuous way. There's not like some event that's causing it. It's just like a way that the space-time is behaving.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like it's still not making it's not making sense how, you know, the universe could be expanding like that without time.
Well, so in the yellow bit, it's not expanding. That's just its shape. And then there's a place in that shape where time begins.
So, but is there not a point in the yellow bit, at the bottom of the yellow bit?
All of the yellow bit is that there's no time in any of the yellow bit. There's no time anywhere.
So what am I can't see, what are your constants there? X and T?
Those are technical details. It's just describing like the size of the Euclidean de Sitter universe before it gives way to a Lorentzian de Sitter universe. It's not super. The values aren't particularly relevant. It's just a diagram I found on the internet. But the idea is like, look, you have this like static unchanging, timeless yellow thing, but there's a place in that static, unchanging, timeless yellow thing where time is going.
So
and if you're away from that place, there's no time.
Yeah. So at that point, you know, not just time, but physics as well.
I mean, physics is still happening. It's just, well, I shouldn't say happening because happening is like a time word, but
yeah.
like there's still like physical relations that hold in the yellow bit.
So who introduced those physical relations? Or I'm sorry.
Well, there was no time, so they've always so there's no sense of it like there's no sense of it beginning.
and see, that's what I'm saying is that like. You it seems like circular reasoning. You're just kind of saying that like, oh, it's, you know, time has always existed, and then time I'm sorry, I missed.
Right, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Time didn't exist, and it just kind of like gradually like came into existence. Like, okay,
time did at a certain place.
Yeah, sure, but see, like that doesn't make sense because, you know, time had to have had a beginning. We can keep on going.
Well, yeah,
back.
in the diagram, time has beginning, right? It's that boundary between the yellow and the blue. That's the beginning. That is the first moment of time, is that boundary.
And so what introduced it?
The geometry.
You know, like,
it's just a feature of the geometry.
So what about that geometry creates time?
So, I mean, the way that we think about time today is a feature of the geometry of space-time. And so the geometry here is that you have a purely spatial universe kind of glued to a space-time in a way that's like smooth and continuous and all of this. And so the geometry just smoothly transitions from purely spatial to spatial plus time.
I couldn't hear all of that. There's some traffic.
You're fine. So the way to think about this is that like you have a purely spatial, non-temporal universe that's like glued to a space-time in like a smooth way. So like they're all one smooth, continuous geometry.
Okay. I mean, it still sounds like, you know, there's still like, even in your, you know, an allegory of, it being glued in place, like it still implies, an action.
Well, I mean, you have to think about this in a four-dimensional way, right? So like this is not something that occurred. It's not like they were glued in place in time. It's just that's a description of the relationship between the space, the space-time with time, and the spatial universe. It's just a description of the relation between the two. So there is a relation between the two. That relation is geometric.
See, I think the reasoning is like kind of flawed, and to me, it's like it sounds a lot like a spaghetti monster.
I mean, take it up with Stephen Hawking, man.
Well, obviously. I'm not.
Look,
saying,
if you're
like,
right, you might have the opportunity to do so in 50 years. I don't know how old you are, right?
No, I don't believe that I would. I mean, I don't know.
Wait, would he be in hell?
No, I just don't believe, if I would have, I don't know. I don't know whether Stephen Hawking's in heaven or hell.
Well, he wasn't a Christian, so maybe he's in hell.
Well, maybe not. Maybe he became a Christian. Who knows?
He didn't. He was very, very clearly an atheist for his entire life.
Yeah, I mean, we can make assumptions, but I would rather not make.
No, I mean, he said these things.
Yeah,
like he was like a staunch atheist. Anyway,
yeah,
I mean, maybe he like converted like moments before he died, I guess, and he didn't tell anybody.
Exactly. And I'm not God, so I can't profess to know who's in heaven or hell. But we're getting off topic.
But I mean, look, this is all to say, like, this notion can be pretty counterintuitive. But suffice it to say, there are.
Allow me to research it real quick.
Sorry.
Would you allow me to research? Can you bring back the diagram and allow me to research it?
Yeah, you can. It's called the no boundary proposal. It's also called the Hartle-Hawking state. This is like suffice it to say, like, this is like a pretty well studied concept.
Yeah, I mean,
and people take it seriously. So I would just.
But it doesn't. It's not proven. It's a theory.
No.
Right?
It's like a metaphysical possibility, if you will.
Sure.
This kind of thing has not been ruled out. Now, the very specific model that Hawking proposed in the 80s, Hartle and Hawking proposed in the 80s, actually, given recent data, it's perhaps not been ruled out. That specific model, where they have, like, because it's more than just a diagram, right? Like, there's a whole slew of mathematics behind it and all of that. But that's the specific version that they proposed in the 80s is not really taken as seriously as much as just kind of like the core concept that you can have this kind of spatial universe giving way to a temporal universe. That's more, that's something that people do take seriously.
Yeah, I mean, just because people take it seriously doesn't make it any more or less valid. So
what I'm suggesting is that there are very, very smart people who take it very, very seriously. So I wouldn't just dismiss it as, oh, it's circular reasoning, or, oh, that's nonsense. Like, this is, like, I'm not saying it's true. What I'm saying is that this is not as easily dismissed as, oh, it's counterintuitive, or, oh, I don't get it, therefore it doesn't make it, therefore it's not true.
No, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that, like, I'm not. Admittedly, I'm not familiar with it, and so someone who is familiar with that theory, you in this example, could obviously talk circles around me about that theory, right?
Yeah. But so I didn't bring this up with that like with the intent to do that. I just brought this up as like sure. there is a third option to had a beginning and there was nothing before it, and didn't have a beginning. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that this is just it's counterintuitive, but it is an option.
But you're seeing how do you understand how I'm saying that it's not answering my question of what started the beginning? It's just saying that there is no beginning. Is essentially what it's saying.
So the way that you should view, or at least the way that I view space-time, and this is the way that probably most physicists view space-time, is not as something where there is space and then time passes, but as like one big thing. And the question is, where did that one big thing come from? Was there a beginning of that? And that only makes sense if there wasn't something that was purely spatial before it. Like if you plot, I'll leave it at that. And so in this view, there's just a big four-dimensional thing and the end of the four-dimensional thing is just like purely spatial, so there was no thing that kicked it off. It just had a timeless existence.
So, to me, like, and I don't really want to take the time to, fight, against this theory. But to me, I would ask you, what would seem more likely, right? The fact that, the universe has kind of come to existence or never came to existence. It just kind of is always. I was kind of typing while you were, reading a little bit about it while you were talking. So I'll have to admit, I just kind of, didn't hear everything you just said. But it sounds like essentially what you're saying is there was no beginning. Sorry if I'm, repeating myself here.
So there's a distinction that I'm drawing. So I think it's possible that the universe has a first moment of time. I don't think it's possible to say that there was nothing and then there was something.
Interesting. So that would mean that the universe was infinite, eternal.
No. Again, there could be a first moment of time and just have a timeless universe that in some like ontological way precedes it.
So
timeless does not mean eternal, right?
So our universe came from another universe. I'm trying to understand.
It came from a spatial universe. You could say that. You could say the time came from a purely spatial thing, in like a non-temporal way, in like a purely geometric relational way.
So see, and that's what I'm saying is like this argument feels like it's just saying no, our universe. It's like it feels like it's pushing the timeline back, and it's like, well, then obviously my next question would have to be, what created that?
Well, that thing didn't have time, so that thing, it doesn't even make sense to say it has a beginning.
Well, it's still something.
Yeah, it is something, but it exists timelessly, so like it doesn't even make sense to ask about eternal. When it started or it being created.
Then that thing is eternal then?
No, it's not eternal, it's timeless. Eternal means that it exists in time for all of time, right? It exists for like every moment of time it exists at every moment of time, and there's an infinite number of days, say. That's what eternal means. We have a
different definition of eternal then. And
so eternal means that it's always existed, always being a temporal word, right? If something doesn't exist in time, you can't even say that there is, like, you can't even say that we're always, right?
I don't see why not.
Because there's no time, and always is a time word.
Yeah, but I think if you say that something exists outside of time, you could say it's eternal. To me, I would say.
I mean, like, look, then we're just using the words differently. I distinguish between timeless and eternal because eternal says something about, like, for every day there's a day before it, and for every day there's a day after it, and it exists in all of those. Whereas I would say that timeless is like, you can't even talk about days. But look, if by timeless, or if you understand what I mean as timeless to be what you mean as eternal, then yes, in that case, the timeless thing would be eternal. Yeah.
And so, what would you would call that as, non-sentient? You would just say it's.
Yeah, it's just space with, with stuff in it.
Okay, with stuff in it.
Yeah, I mean, presumably it's not empty.
Yeah. Okay, so, and it's just floating there, and it's just always existed without time.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, always existed without time is a little bit hard to make sense of. It existed timelessly.
So to me, that goes against, observable physics, right? I don't understand how that can come without something, right? I don't understand how that can just, because it's just like it pushes the question back. To me, I would call that God, right?
Well, it doesn't have a mind. It's not able
And I
to
would
do
say-
anything.
Well, you
right?
don't know that. You don't know that.
Well, minds are temporal things generally, right?
Well, okay. By
If
mind,
something
I-
is unchanging, then
like
I don't know if you would call it a
sentient.
mind.
It was aware. You know, that's what I meant. by
Aware
mind.
of what? Awareness is a process, right? It's not a state, it's a process.
So let's define what God is. then.
That's a good idea.
So I guess since I believe in God, I should go first, and I would define God as you know, the earliest. You know, obviously I'd go back to my Bible. The earliest word use for God was existing one, right? Chaya chaya in Hebrew, right? And that's when God said
The earliest word for God, wasn't it like El Elyon or something? Wasn't that the first place
Elohim.
that it was used?
Yeah, sure, Elohim. But you have to understand that. So, like Genesis was written by, it was written by Moses, right? And
Well,
that was
I
way
don't think that's
after-
true.
Well, okay, I can't say for certain it was written by Moses, but traditionally, oral tradition is that Genesis was written by Moses, the Pentateuch, right?
Well, yeah, but like the first, like historians agree that like Genesis was written like 2,500 years ago or something like this, like in 500 BC-ish.
I mean, there's a lot of different manuscripts, so
Yeah, none of them
we're
are
getting a little
older.
off
None of them
topic.
are older than like 100 BC.
So now we're just talking about you know, Bible, the validity of the Bible.
Well,
right?
I mean, we're just talking about like authorship, but like we can like it's
Sure.
perhaps neither here nor there.
Anyways, the earliest use of God was when Abraham, right? The burning bush appeared before Abraham, and was it Moses? Right, in Exodus. I'm sorry, it was Moses, and said, you know, go into my people, right? And Moses says, you know, what do I call you? What do I tell my people? You know, your name, and says, existing one. I am who I am. All right.
And sorry, what verse is this? What book is this in? What chapter?
Exodus 3:14.
Okay, let's pull up Exodus. Exodus 3. No, I want the. Why isn't it showing to me in the Hebrew? That's so annoying.
Man, I appreciate your you
Exodus
seem
3.
like a very honest debater. You know.
Yeah. So, well, I appreciate
There's
that.
a lot of
So,
people on this app that aren't very honest with, you know. They're just
so when
rude.
you say God's first name, that's not. This is like. I don't know if that's the name or if like that's like a description, right? Like if you go look for a name, like you'll find the tetragrammaton, like the Yud Hey
Well,
Vav Hey. That's like perhaps a name. And then you'll also see like titles like El or El Elyon or Elohim.
and those are all just descriptions as well.
Well, I know, I mean, but the tetragrammaton is arguably a name. And I believe that predates Exodus chapter, or that you know, is earlier than Exodus chapter 3. I think that's even Genesis 2 maybe. And that's like, you know, yeah. That's in Genesis 2. In fact, it is. I don't think it's in Genesis 1. I think in Genesis 1 it's only Elohim. Yeah. In Genesis 2, though, the tetragrammaton, the Yud Hey Vav Hey, that appears as, you know, God's name. So that just seems earlier.
Sure. Anyways, I mean, they're both just at the end of the day just descriptions of who God is, right?
Well, no, one is a name and one is a description, right?
Yahweh is a description.
No, it's a name.
It's Lord.
It's not like, no, it doesn't have like a translation. It's not like a word that means something. It's a name. In the same way that like Moshe was a name. In the same way that like Yitzhak was a name.
No, You're wrong.
What do you mean, no?
I'm sorry. It's not. It's not just a name. It's a description of who God
I mean,
is.
if you look at like what like biblical scholars, even like Christian biblical scholars, they will say that it's a name.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not but names had meaning. All right, it's a description. It's used like as an identifier for God. Yes, a name. All right, but that doesn't void it of being a description. Right? It's not like John or Phil. You know.
No, it would be like that.
See,
It would be exactly like that. Like, keep in mind, John, Ionas, which comes from Greek, which goes back to Yehonatan. This is a Hebrew name that if you can unpack it, and it will mean something like, you know, God gives great, or God gives, or something like this. Yeah, it's God has given, or gift of God. That's what Jonathan means in Hebrew. But when somebody has the name Jonathan, you're not saying, this person is a gift from God. You're saying their name is Jonathan.
But it still has and that's today, right? We're talking
That was
about
back then too.
So back then, I see that's
Like
where we
names were like
back
people
then,
okay. So
names
when somebody
used
got a
to-
name, like you know, Isaac Yitzhak, like, do you think that meant something, or do you think that was just a name?
Yeah, it meant something.
Okay, but would you say that, like, oh, that's just a description of the guy, it's not his name? Would you say that
it's
somebody
both.
being named Yitzhak 2,000
They're
years ago would have
they're
been
not-
different than somebody being named Phil today?
It is different. I would say it is different back then. But I would say, to answer your first question, they're not independent of each other. That just because what's a description, it can be both a description and a name. Does that make sense? So you're in your example, Isaac, right? It was his name. You know, we call him Isaac, right?
Mhm.
And when you think Isaac, you might think about the guy in the Bible, or you might think about your neighbor.
Yep.
Married to Sarah, you know, right? And so it's a name, yeah, but it's also can be a description at the same time.
So for example, the name Isaac's probably a bad example because it means he laughs, and, you know,
Sure,
babies
let's go
laugh. So
back to
maybe they named
Alright.
him because he actually did laugh. But like, we can go look at like the name of like Joseph or something like this, right? Like Yosef.
Sure.
And you know, Technicolor coat, all of this. That means he will add. And like, what does that mean? Why would you name a baby that? How is that a descriptor?
I mean, it's getting a little off topic. I mean, but I could gladly answer that for you if you give me one second.
Yeah, sure.
Because his mother Rachel believed birth, he'd be a blessing from God to bring an end to her barrenness.
But what does that have to? Okay, so you're saying that he will add to her something?
Yeah, he'll be a blessing. He'll bring blessings.
But that's not in the name. It's just he will add. Or we could look at the word the name Noah.
increase.
Noah
He should
means
add.
something like rest, right, or comfort.
Sure.
Like Noah's mother named him that because, like, the point
Because
is
she wanted,
sometimes
she was more or less, I mean, I hate to use the word, I'm using it fairly loosely, but because she was prophesying that, she was willing that from Noah, right?
willing what? Rest?
I mean, so let's look that one up.
It means rest, right?
Yeah,
Or
no, I'll
repose.
tell you. Because his father, Lamech, believed Noah would bring relief or comfort during the difficult labor of working the cursed ground.
Okay. I mean, look, my point is I think that there is a way that we can make a distinction. And maybe this isn't even relevant. Like we're down like a weird side quest. But like,
honestly, I think you're wrong in saying that Yahweh is just a name without meaning.
Well,
I kind of
look, I think that generally.
So we could just kind of start to wrap things up a little bit.
I mean, like, think about it this way. Like, when you think of the name Zeus, for example, right?
Sure.
Is that a name or is that a description?
I don't know.
So if
There's
you
a big difference between mythology and real life, though.
You're right, there is. But if you look at the name Zeus, if you trace the meaning of the name back, it eventually just translates to deity or god, right?
Okay.
But like Zeus is a name.
So can I ask you? I mean, I think it was a little off topic, but can I ask you which came first? You know, the Zeus as a name, or Zeus as a use for God?
So my guess is that, and I'm not an etymologist, but my guess is that Zeus is the name for a divine being that kind of descended from a more primitive, not primitive, from like an older religious tradition that predates the Greeks. So you would have had some like Dios, kind of like that's like kind of where the name comes from, Dios, and that would have been like some more even more ancient notion of like a storm god or something like this.
Sure.
That probably is much older, and so by the time it got to the Greeks, it was just the name.
Sure. And so, but we admit that it started off as a description, though.
Sure, but by the time the Hebrews had the name, I don't think it was anymore.
The Tetragrammaton.
Yeah. I mean, like, as far as I can tell, like, this is not something that like we have any like historical etymology for like where the name came from in the form of a word, like a meaningful word.
I mean, I believe I have the answer to that. It'd be difficult for me to go back and prove that without preparing. Okay. So I would enjoy. I hope the algorithm works out and we can talk again.
Sure.
I would like to end on saying it's you kind of admit that Yahweh started off as a description, right?
Well, no, we don't know. That's the thing. Like it's not clear to me. Like there's like this whole business with like El. El is a god that almost certainly like has like predates like Hebrew belief systems. Like with like the
that's definitely more of a description.
El comes from something like comes from something more ancient. But by the time it got to the Hebrews, it was just like the name, right? The Tetragrammaton we're less sure of. Like this is just not something that's like apparently scholars like its etymology is not definitively known.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly certain I have a good understanding of Yahweh. It's been a while since I've really gone into all of this. I'm kind of new at having all this free time, but I'll tell you, you're a very educated person. It seems like a lot of your arguments kind of come from we don't know, right? We don't know, and I
don't know how you came to that conclusion from this conversation. I don't know how you came to that conclusion from this conversation.
Well, everything. I mean, and can you remind me that? I'm sorry to ask again. What was the chart you brought up, Stephen Hawking's? What is the name?
It's called the no boundary proposal.
Okay, yeah, I have that typed in. Cool. The no boundary proposal. That's just an argument of saying, hey, here's another theory besides God. It's not saying that I know God does not exist, right?
I mean, like we could have a separate conversation about like why I specifically don't believe that God exists or why I believe that God does not exist. Okay. We were just talking. The reason I brought that up was because you were talking about origins of the universe and things like this, and you brought up like that there's two options, and I'm like, well, there's actually this third option that most people don't consider. That's why I brought it up in the first place. Yeah,
I mean, I'll definitely have to research it. Yeah. To me, it sounds like something like I kind of was like a sentence in a notebook in my private high school, over 10 years ago, right? And so, like, honestly, like, it's something that I would have to research and,
Sure.
To me, I believe I've already reasoned myself through that, and that reason would be, that it's just pushing that boundary of beginning back, right? And I get what you're saying that, we know that this didn't have a beginning, but
Because it would be timeless. Timeless things can't really have beginnings. Right.
Yeah, and so I deny that by saying, that there must be a beginning of, something must start the energy. There must be a start. Our universe, something that exists outside of our universe, like a universe can't exist outside of itself. Right?
Well, I'm not claiming that, but lest we end up in a cycle, why don't we just call it there?
Sure. Hey, and I want to say, thank you so much for talking. I really
thanks for
hope
being here.
that we can have a conversation again, and man, I really hope that maybe you can be a little bit more. I hate to say more open-minded because it implies that you're not open-minded already.
Hey, you too. Right. I'm gonna kick you out, but thanks for being here, Chase. Take care.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
Chase was good faith. We have a few super chats to read, including one enormous one. So from Duke of Shostka, he said, with the 2 euro bucks, he just said it's just a theory. Yeah, I mean that's a thing. A Duke of Shostka again, and from that place without time cometh the message, thou shalt not touch thyself. Yeah, there you go. Jonathan, did you play BF6 last night? No, but I did this morning. A bunch of people sent jewels. Jewels are like a new thing on TikTok. Generally, I'm going to read, unless the jewel gift is enormous, I'm generally just going to read the super chats. But I do appreciate the jewels that you guys are sending. It means a lot. The Yaya system sent star goggles, which is 249 TikTok jewels. Thank you. And then we got 100 buckery dues from KCJ Bomber. Now, this is a huge donation, so thank you so much. Let's get a W for KCJ. However, let's read the message. Beyond the miraculous feats in daily life like driving, constant miracles, the moon is the only celestial body where displayed at surface level creates a total eclipse, unlike anywhere else in the known universe. God is watching, Jesus followers created civilization. Look, if you want to send me $100 to preach, go ahead, I'll read your preaching. I will do it. Duke of Shostka sends 10 more euros. Ancient Egyptians believed anything written, names too, is a spell and comes to come true. So it's sensible to be named Mighty Bull arising in Thebes, but only Shaved Ape would carry this superstition for 5,000 years. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair statement. Yep, if you want to preach, just send $100 and I'll do it for you, okay? All right, let's bring up Adam. I think Adam is up next. Adam, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can. How's it going?
Perfect. I'm good, mate. I'm really good. Yeah, yourself? Is it Blitz?
It is Blitz, indeed. Well, I'm glad that you're doing all right. So why don't you tell me, do you believe in God?
Yeah, I do.
And which one would that be? Just so I can know where you stand.
The God of the Bible.
Okay, sure. Now, look, so it says I'm an atheist. What would you say is like the most compelling reason you could give me as an atheist to believe what you believe?
Let me set out 3, but only go into the latter one because I think it's more interesting. I would basically start archaeology.
Sure.
And then the text can't produce itself in the Hebrew, the Greek, and the English. It has mathematical patterns in it, yet 40 authors, 66 books. So, but the one that I think your audience and you, because I've been watching your stuff, I really like how your brain works. You seem quite intelligent. Would possibly be understanding the spiritual realm. Now, we would say that the invisible realm. Scientists such as yourself would say the quantum realm. Now, you have the 7 properties of quantum physics. I'm sure you're kind of aware of all of these things. Now, I'm producing...
No, but what 7 properties?
Let me just go through them. Okay, so you have superposition.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you get supercomputers. One particle can do multiple things at once. So, am I on stage? Yeah, I am on stage. So I can turn left, I can turn right, I can jump up, I can do down. I can't do them all at the same time. But in the invisible realm, things can do multiple things at once. That's where we're using quantum computers from. So that's one. Wave particle duality is a very interesting
Let me write these down. So you have superposition is number 1. So go ahead.
Superposition, wave particle duality, entanglement.
All right. Sorry, my keyboard's kind of loud, but go ahead, I'll mute myself.
Quantization, the uncertainty principle, quantum tunneling, and the observer effect. I'm sure you've heard of the double slit experiment.
So, and you called these what, the 7 somethings?
Principles. So you have Newtonian physics. I'm sure you're aware of Newtonian physics.
Mm-hmm.
For the audience, that's just time, space, and matter, and how we operate in those kind of things, isn't it? If we speak quite plainly, I have no formal education in any theology or sciences. I just love to learn. But when we go into the invisible realm, i.e. the non-physical realm, we can't take those physics that we use for the made realm to the invisible realm. The world operates completely
Now,
differently.
you're saying the invisible realm, but you listed quantum mechanics, quantum physics stuff. Are you saying that the invisible realm is the quantum realm?
Yeah.
But
So the
we can
the
see
invisible
quantum
things
stuff.
make the visible. No, we can through observation. This is where I've asked about the double slit experiment.
Well, wait a minute. So it is like visible. So how is it invisible?
Okay, so you're familiar. Young did. I can't remember his first name. In
Thomas Young.
1801, Thomas Young. Thank you. And Thomas Young in 1801 did the double slit experiment. And when we don't observe something,
So to be clear, he didn't do that. He didn't do the whole observer, not observer thing.
Who did?
That was Alain Aspect in the 1970s. Thomas Young did the classical double slit experiment where he showed that light is a wave. He just took sunlight and he shined it through the double slit, and then he got the interference pattern. He didn't do the stuff with the observer. He didn't do any of that.
I will have to go and verify that. You sound correct. I love being wrong because it means I've learned something.
So it would be kind of surprising if Thomas Young did the quantum observer, if Thomas Young did the quantum double slit experiment in the 1800s, and then it took us, till the 1920s or something to even like that. That would be a little bit surprising. So yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
I agree. I'm doing my best that I can to try and validate the logic. My documentary is called God's Logic, showing the non-contradictions between quantum physics and how it's operating, and how the triune God of the Bible is operating.
So
and
would you say that you have like a good understanding of like quantum physics?
No, because anyone that thinks they understand quantum physics doesn't understand quantum physics.
That may have been true 70 years ago. That's not true anymore.
Say that again.
That may have been true 70 years ago.
I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think the one that caught my attention recently is the W wave at Kyoto University. They found 3 photon packets quantumly entangled, one essence, 3 distinctions. So we have a working model in the invisible realm of what the Christians would say. I'm not saying that God is those 3 photons. I'm saying we have a working model.
Just to be clear, photons are by definition not invisible.
No, they come into you're talking about the wave, and then the observer effect makes them.
I'm just talking about photons. Photons are the only things that are visible.
Okay, they become packages, don't they?
So photons are visible, right? Like that's how we see. That's what seeing is.
I understand that, but it's our observation that collapses the potential, doesn't it? The double slit experiment.
If you asked like a random quantum physicist, would you think that they would say that the human consciousness has anything to do with it? I
don't care what they say.
Okay,
I don't listen to
like if you were to ask like physicists in general, you'll find that like 94%, and I have a survey that can back this up, 94% will say that human consciousness is not involved at all in quantum mechanics.
Okay, so what is collapsing the wave?
Interaction.
Okay, interaction with
like 25% of physicists don't even think that the wave function collapses at all. Yeah, and then there are other views that say that the wave function. Sorry,
because I'm studying this field.
I have surveys.
Okay, cool. I would love to have. Do you have anywhere I can look? Because I want to see.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
What quantum is brilliant. So the W wave seems to be mimicking what the Christians have said. I'm not saying that God is 3 photons in the invisible realm. And then I think it was 2022, Russian physicists made matter from a lattice of light. Are you familiar with this one?
No. Well, sorry. Give me just one sec.
No.
It was a news survey. Quantum interpretations. This was recent. This was like a few months ago. The thing about the interpretations of quantum mechanics. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. It was in Nature, but Nature is unfortunately. Okay, I think I can find it. Here we go. No, it's still being blocked. I just need this. Is it this one? Okay, this is the actual survey question. Okay, hold on. This is a blog, but it should have a link to the actual... Does it have a link to the actual paper? Come on. Okay, here's a Phys article. I just want the DOI number. Just give me the DOI number, please. Oh, here's the DOI number. Found it. Sorry. I should put this in my notes page, by the way. Oh, I will put this in my notes page. For those who want to become members or Patreon patrons or whatever, you can actually go get access to these by being that thing. All right. And now it's being blocked by India. Anyway, so let's say that that's not true. I mean, like, I have the DOI number. I'll find it later, but I don't want to waste time. Suppose it's not true. Suppose that 40% say that it's consciousness is involved, for example. If that's the case, I mean, if it's, look, so generally, I think it's probably pretty reasonable to listen to what the people educated on the topic say and take them seriously.
Yeah, but what I'm doing in my documentary is I'm showing what quantum physics is demonstrating in the exams, then backing it up with the technology to show the audience this is real. Because it's very hard to explain to the layman.
You wouldn't say that you understand quantum mechanics, though.
I don't think we can fully understand quantum mechanics.
Of course you can. Take a few undergrad courses in the subject, and then take a few grad courses in the subject, and you'll be fine.
I do. Stanton Open University. I've been studying it for 3 years. I just don't think that we can fully.
Can you tell me what a Hilbert space is?
Say what is?
What a Hilbert space is.
No, could you tell me? Maybe I do.
Yeah,
just go for
it. It's a complete inner product space that can be infinite dimensional.
Of course, everything's infinitely dimensional when there's no time space.
It's a complete inner product space. It's a type of vector space. It's a type of vector space. It's a complete inner product space. It's an abstract mathematical space where vectors can live, and it's complete, meaning that, oh god, it means that sequences of things terminate at their limit, and the limit is part of the space. And it's an inner product space, meaning that there's an inner product on the space, which means that you can multiply two different vectors and get a number out. But like, this is like the bottom. This is like the most fundamental object in quantum mechanics. So like,
is theory or is it demonstrated?
This is like when you're in your first course on quantum mechanics, this is the thing that you will learn about. This is what wave functions are. This is where wave functions live.
Okay, I understand wave functions and the different shapes
and
what energy
exist in Hilbert spaces. And like, so I'm just a little bit skeptical.
The shapes of what the atom is going to, the probability of where it's going to be. They can change shape, can't they? They're generally like flower shaped. Does that make sense?
I think that you might be a little lost here.
That's your opinion. You've lost me as well. So look, I'm trying my best.
So could you tell me what the Schrodinger equation is?
Observation, isn't it? There's
no, it has nothing to do with observation. In fact, observation is not included at all in the Schrodinger equation.
Schrodinger's cat, isn't it? Is it Schrodinger's cat?
No, the Schrodinger equation. I'm not talking about a cat.
I have no idea.
So the Schrodinger equation is like the fundamental description of how quantum states change. So, like, look, and I mean this with as much respect as all humans deserve. It sounds like you're trying to make it like a documentary on quantum mechanics without knowing the first thing on quantum mechanics. So
I'm trying my best.
And I understand that there are like
you understand quantum entanglement and superposition.
Yeah, I have a PhD in physics.
You asked me what those were, and that's sort of the only thing that I've looked into: quantum entanglement, superposition, and quantum boring. You know, there's lots of these things that Christ seemed to be demonstrating in the scriptures and in the fathers.
Here's what I would say. Here's what I would say. If the argument that you're trying to make for God relies on quantum mechanics, which understandably is not something that you have a good understanding of, it shouldn't be the argument that you should make.
I think I was trying to be humble I think I'm trying to be humble and only go with what I know and build it up off scripture.
But if you're trying to go with what you know, don't use physics. Don't use quantum physics then, because it's not something that like if you go talk to a grad student in physics who's taken a quantum mechanics course, they will they will know the subject.
Do the quantum physicists say they understand how they're getting the end result? They build technology using it, but do they understand it? Do we understand quantum computers?
Yeah.
Okay, can you explain a quantum computer?
So a quantum computer is basically a large state space of qubits. Those qubits can be either entangled or not, and you can apply unitary operations to them. You can use lasers for certain kinds of quantum computers. Those are the ones I'm most familiar with. I'm not familiar with the other non-laser based ones. But you can use these lasers that are in certain, basically the laser pulses are in certain configurations to apply unitary operators to magnetic or electric qubits. And then those qubits can perform computations based off of the unitary operators that you're applying. Like these are well understood things. This has been well understood since the 90s.
Demonstrated and understood are two different things. I
just explained how they work.
Blitz, I'd love to ask you a question because this is what
Sure.
do you know scripture? Because it seems like you grew up Christian.
I have not read the Bible. I did not grow up Christian. I've not read the Christian Bible, I should say. I've read the Hebrew Bible several times over.
Are you from a Jewish background?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm Kohen. I'm just speaking to my family in Israel, half family in Israel.
Okay.
So I'm from the lineage.
So I would be if my mother was not my mother and instead my father. But you know how that goes.
Cool. Well, my grandmother married someone else that she shouldn't, so I can't go back that way. So I've lost my claim to the priestly class, and I never grew up with the faith, but I study the text, and I prefer the Old Testament. I think it's more interesting. I just the more thing just to do with the archaeology. Sodom and Gomorrah's there, Noah's Ark seems to be there.
It's certainly interesting, but like, look, just to put a bow on it, it seems like.
Well, can you show a contradiction?
Could I show a contradiction in the quantum mechanics stuff? Yeah, go ahead.
No. Forget what I know, mate. Honestly, I'm not putting myself forward as the ambassador of physics.
Okay, but then don't do it. Don't make a documentary involving it.
Can you show the contradictions between the triune God of the Bible when he appears through a locked door, or when Jesus goes onto the boat and immediately is it shore, or Philip is translated from the Ethiopian eunuch to Gaza and Azaroth. So we see that as quantum tunneling immediately, no action.
How is that quantum tunneling?
Was going through a locked door, isn't it? It's a physical matter.
Well, I think that it was made up. I
don't
think that happened.
You could suggest that one, because that's only based on humans. There's no way of testing it. If you go to the archaeology on the grand scale, this is where you can test things. So if I said to you, I'm wearing a grey T-shirt, and someone said to you, I'm wearing a pink T-shirt, how do you know what T-shirt I'm wearing?
Well, I mean, either I wouldn't, if all I have is just whatever people say, or I would have a photograph and I would look.
Okay, cool. So you look. What I'm saying is we observe.
Yeah. So archaeological evidence is great. I would love archaeological evidence of any miracles.
Have you? I'd love to have you on my YouTube channel. We could maybe go through Sodom and Gomorrah. I think is one of the greatest ones. God said, I'll do a hypothesis for you. If God said he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with brimstone and fire, burnt the city to ash, nothing would grow inside of the boundaries, and he would salt the earth. No vegetation would grow inside the boundaries, and he would leave it there as a testament, and turned a woman into a pillar of salt. Leave it there as a testament. What evidence from what the story I've said would you expect to find if the Bible was true?
What evidence would I expect to find? I would expect to find like a woman-sized pillar of salt, probably.
Yeah.
Right? I would expect to find, well, that's probably it. I mean, probably it besides things that could be caused naturally, right? Like kinds of things like meteor impacts are things that can happen naturally. So if we're looking for evidence of something that like couldn't happen naturally, then you'd probably need like a woman-shaped sized pillar of salt, right?
Okay. Woman-sized pillar of salt. Remember I said brimstone and fire burn the city to ash.
So I'm familiar with what you're talking about. So I know that there is a speculation that like Sodom and Gomorrah, or Sodom anyway, may have been destroyed by a meteor impact, which left behind sulfur remains. and that's the origin story for the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. So that's a plausible naturalistic explanation.
Okay.
If it was divine, then where's the woman made of salt?
Well, the woman made of salt's on the outside of the city.
Well, no, there's a rock pillar that's like 60 feet tall. That's not a woman. Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, I've seen that. I've heard about this.
Have you looked at the evidence of the limestone that's been heated up to a certain temperature and has the swells in it, and they're all in the shape of the city? When a lime, so through chemistry, I'm not.
No, I didn't need an explanation. I just wanted you to repeat it because I couldn't hear it.
Okay, through chemistry, when certain elements are heated, they change their composition.
Sure.
So limestone, when it's heated to a certain temperature, turns into something else. You have these wave patterns. So the lines of the city, you're talking streets, roads, doors, windows, all these geometric shapes you would expect from a giant city are all there, turned into ash with balls of 99.
I don't think that they've found ruins at the location. Maybe they have. Maybe I just am not familiar with it. But like,
if I was to, I would love to invite you on. I think if you are looking for the truth, and the truth is not subjective, I would love to invite you on to maybe pour through the physical evidence and you give your explanation, and then we will just stay silent because the evidence kind of speaks for itself. Would you be up for that?
Just as, I mean, like, we can talk about it later, I guess. We're kind of doing it right now. So is there evidence of like a human-shaped sized woman of salt? Okay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go to that. I'd go to the cities.
Well, but the cities could have been destroyed by a naturalistic process, right? That's the issue.
But then you'd look the opposite way. You look for fissures and volcanoes, and they're not around. In the north, there is a fissure, but we don't see that recorded.
I'm not talking about volcanoes. I'm talking about a meteor impact.
I understand what you're talking about in a meteor impact, but a meteor impact's not made of sulfur. There's 96%.
Meteor impacts. Meteors can have sulfur in them, and heating of natural stone can produce sulfur balls.
And there's no impact crater.
There's no impact crater for a lot of things, especially if it was an airburst.
Okay. I mean, I'd love you to pour over the information.
So look, the reason I ask is because all of these things, like this notion that like, oh, we found this sulfur stuff, we found like evidence of like an airburst, that pointed people towards, oh, maybe this is what caused the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. So if you want to say that there's some divine reason behind it, you need to provide evidence that something could not have happened naturally, like a woman made of salt.
We'd layer it up. We'd continue layering it up. So it talks about the ground being salted and the meteor impact. It must be a very clever meteor impact because there was 5 cities. Zohar was spared, 2 smaller places, and Sodom and Gomorrah, which is we generally refer to.
I'm actually not familiar with evidence of any of them besides Sodom.
There's Sodom and Gomorrah.
No, like I think that like there's like a view that like maybe there was like an airburst that blew up one city, and that's the only thing that we have evidence that ever happened.
Outside the city, what we don't see is these sulfur balls. It's the entrance to the city and in the city and the boundaries of the city. We only see it occurring inside, which is unusual for an airburst.
I don't think that we have that precise knowledge of this stuff. Like,
oh no. You can visit it. It's not a statement. It's not an opinion.
But these are not like Roman ruins, right?
No, they're not. These are
not like intact.
No. They still hold their structures. This is the crazy thing about it.
Okay, what's the name of the place that you're referring to? Because maybe we're talking about different places.
Have you? I mean, could I share screen and maybe pull it up, or I don't know how to.
You could just tell me the name of it.
Roman Discoveries 2022, and it's the first bit.
Sorry, what? So I can't. You can't play videos here.
Oh, okay, no worries.
So is there like what's the name of the location?
Sodom.
I mean, like is it Bab Edra? Is it like Tal El? What? There's another one. Tal El Hammam. Numera. Like what's?
I don't know the name of it
because like these have like local names. These locations have local names, and they weren't the names of these locations in like south of the Dead Sea are not Sodom and Gomorrah.
There's no civilization for miles for miles in these areas, but there's like 4K, 8K drones. People
So
go to place.
the sulfur balls that that you're referring to were found at Tal el Hammam, right?
Maybe,
So,
yes.
that's,
If they were found at 99.6% pure sulfur, it's not found on Earth.
That's an archaeological site. It's in Jordan. And
no, it's not in Jordan. It's north. No, that's the Muslim. They tried to get you away from it. No, it's not there.
Like Tel El Hammam is in Jordan, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I debate Muslims. They try and claim that is the location to take you away from the real evidence. So that is not what I'm talking about.
This is where the sulfur balls were found.
You're looking into the wrong thing. I've looked into what you're looking into before. I'm not describing that place.
So which place are you describing?
Okay, if you were to type in to yourself and you're visually, you can look. If you don't bring up videos, brilliant. I would type in Ron Wyatt, RONWYAT.
Oh, no. You're not citing Ron Wyatt, are you?
Why not? I'm looking at his evidence.
He's a pseudo-archaeologist. He just makes shit up.
Well, the evidence speaks for itself.
No, he doesn't. The evidence is not real. It's literally fabricated.
Okay, so what I'm trying to ask you a question is quite simply here, and I want to see the bias say. I'm looking at the evidence and not explaining it, saying the text says this.
So what's the evidence? Can you cite an actual archaeologist and not Ron Wyatt?
Why would I need to cite an actual archaeologist?
Because you should cite a scientist, not like some discredited like author.
You can buy politicians, can't you?
What?
People buy politicians, don't they?
We're not talking about politicians.
Well, can people buy scientists or archaeologists?
Yeah, so are you assuming all scientists have been bought?
No, don't be silly.
So find me a single scientist, like an actual archaeologist who agrees with this claim.
I don't actually trust men, so I pour through the evidence myself.
Well, no, but so look, there's an issue here. If the evidence is legitimate, then you would expect to have at least one archaeologist actually agreeing with this. So where's the one archaeologist that agrees with this?
I can get scientists to agree and disagree with anything. You understand that you're based.
Find me the one. Then do it.
No, but you understand from your perspective, you're basing your opinion on other men's opinions. I'm basing
my opinion on scientific consensus. You said that you were bringing up archaeological data.
Why would I base on scientific consensus, mate?
Because neither you nor I are archaeologists. And so the people who are most likely to be correct about archaeology are going to be archaeologists.
Do you think you're intelligent?
Sure.
Would you say, okay, cool. So I actually think that I'm not stupid. Sometimes I play a bit stupid to just have a long conversation, build into these things and state facts that people can test so that when someone says, I will die on this hill, and the things that I've been talking about, your audience has now gone, I could go check that one out. Okay. So I actually trust my own eyes and coming over the evidence. I tried to disprove the Bible 7 years ago.
Do you believe Ron Wyatt when he said that he found Jesus' blood?
I don't. You can't test it, but I don't trust. I don't attack the man. I look at the evidence.
Okay, so then where can I find the evidence? Where's like the published, peer-reviewed evidence that I can go find?
What do you mean?
I can go look at?
There is a city there you can go.
Okay,
around.
have you been there?
No.
Okay, so then where are you getting this evidence from?
I've got eyes.
Okay, so where are you looking? Are you looking at it in a YouTube video? Is that the source here?
What's wrong with that?
A YouTube video is generally like there are YouTube videos that show the Earth is flat.
What's wrong with watching YouTube videos?
There are YouTube videos that show the Earth is flat. There are YouTube videos that show that aliens visited. There are YouTube videos of Bigfoot. Does this mean that like why are you relying on YouTube videos?
2 seconds. There's lots of ways you can film things. I'm looking at someone with a camera walking around the area.
And how are you verifying that he is where he says he is? How are you verifying that these weren't placed there beforehand? How are you verifying any of this?
It doesn't matter where it is. The evidence actually matches up with
if it's in Utah, of course it matters.
What I'm saying is the evidence matches up where it is.
No, how have you checked that?
Okay, you're saying
you
these
believing
things.
The YouTube video creator? I thought you didn't believe men.
No, but I'm looking at the visual things and matching it up with my eyes. Exactly what they're doing. I have the same tools.
So look, you're watching a YouTube video and you're watching a YouTube video. They're pointing at the ground and they're saying, it's like, oh, there's a sulfur ball here. How did you verify it was a sulfur ball? How did you verify that they're where they are? How did you verify that those weren't placed there beforehand? How did you verify that the first shot where they show the ruins of the city are in the same place as the second shot where they're zoomed in on the ground with the sulfur? Like, there's 100 things that you can't check.
Perfect. Do you do that same thing for other men?
I rely on peer-reviewed sources. That's why, because peer-reviewed sources seem to give us reliable ways at coming to true conclusions about the world around us. That's why I don't rely on YouTube videos.
Does science change?
Of course it does.
Okay. Has that science ever been wrong? Peer-reviewed papers ever been wrong?
Sure, absolutely.
Have you ever gone over something, believed something, and changed your opinion?
Yes. Literally
Okay, so-
yesterday.
Perfect. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said to you, I'll check it out. I'm not posing that I know everything. I tried to disprove the Bible at 30. I'm autistic. All I ever do is study. It's like I love studying. So I went to the basics of name, place, person, documented inside and outside the Bible. So when someone says Sodom and Gomorrah is here, I would go to the scriptures. That's a statement. Here's the evidence. Does it match? What tools do I have to use? When given these tools, I'm looking at the evidence and go, yeah, it appears that way. Am I there when they test the sulfur balls and say, this level of sulfur isn't concentrated, but I see them light it on fire? I can't test that. I'm not there. I haven't got time to do those things.
I actually... Sorry to interrupt. So I thought that the sulfur ball thing was like pretty well agreed upon, but apparently, like, this is the only places that talks about like there being sulfur balls. Like, this is not like something that archaeologists agree on. This is like stuff that you'll find on YouTube videos and like Quora and on Bible, like Christian websites. Like, this isn't something like, there was a paper that came out about Tel El Hammam, like, a decade ago or something like this, and it was retracted because like it was bad science.
Jordan isn't what you're talking about. Jordan's in the north of Israel. It's in the south.
No, so what I'm saying is, it's not even clear to me that there's like ruins with sulfur balls in them. Period. That's not even clear to me at all.
You're going to Tel El Hammam, which is in Jordan.
No. I'm just talking in general, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you're going to somewhere where it isn't, and then you're looking at that evidence and its retraction. No, I'm going to the primary sources and saying, hey, to the audience, I'd say, hey, Ron Wyatt discoveries 2022. They could go check it out. And
you're misunderstanding me.
Okay, correct.
So my point is that not only is it not at Tel El Hammam, which is where like the original scientific claim was made, that paper was retracted because it was apparently bad science. It's not anywhere.
Oh, have you looked at the evidence?
I'm looking at it right now. The only places I can find that are even mentioning it are Bible sites and YouTube videos.
Okay, so in the YouTube video, do they walk around it in cameras and 8K drones? And are there thousands of them in the same place?
I don't take YouTube videos as scientific evidence. I'm sorry. I'm looking for if this was real. If this was real, I would expect at least one scientist, one archaeologist to have written about it. There are none. I can't find any.
Visually.
How do we know where they are? How do we know that they are what they said they are? Like, there's so many issues with just trusting a YouTube video.
Do you remember when I told you about my pink T-shirt?
Sure.
Yeah, but it's not pink; it's grey.
Sure.
Because you can look at it.
Look, so is it not strange to you that not a single archaeologist is agreeing with you that there is sulfur balls at some ruined site in southern Israel? Is that not strange at all?
No, because I know that the world is trying to cover up the Bible.
There are Christian archaeologists. Why aren't they defending this?
People dedicate their entire lives to trying to disprove the Bible.
There are Christian archaeologists. Why aren't they defending this?
Well, why does it need to be defended? Did the Christian archaeologists show the images of the thing in the paper?
No. I'm not seeing any archaeologists, Christian or not, that actually defend this view, that defend that there are sulfur balls at some ruined ancient town. I'm not finding any of that.
Okay, congratulations. Which do you think is easier to do for the audience? For the audience, I know you may not, ever come to actually go and test things for yourself and trust your own eyesight. But do you think that the audience could use their brain and go, he's made a statement, the Bible's made a statement saying it is here, we can test it, and then go and test it themselves?
Do you think that someone... To be clear, neither you nor I tested it ourselves, right?
No, of course, no. I haven't got enough money. I go to work. I haven't got enough money to go fly on a plane and go in the middle of the desert, get a Jeep and drive down where this is. I haven't got enough money to do that. Love to do
Right.
it.
So right now you're believing YouTube videos, and I'm saying there's no
I'm believing
archaeologists that have done
visual
this.
evidence. I'm believing visual evidence.
Visual
That's what I
evidence.
believe.
Look, okay. You will if
You
you look for a
understand
YouTube video.
sounds.
Look, I can go show you a YouTube video that shows that like there are like that Bigfoot is real, right?
Congratulations. Just I don't care.
Does that mean that the Bigfoot's real?
Is it very difficult to fake a huge city of millions of people turned into ash with balls of sulfur lining it all the way through? No vegetation.
Okay, so you're telling me that there's like huge cities of people. Okay, what's okay? You know what? Now I gotta see it. Okay, what's the YouTube video? I'll look it up. I'm not gonna play it because I can't. I'll look it up. I hope that there are cities that there are people turned to ash. Yeah, what's the name of the YouTube video?
No, people would have dissolved. It's the only Ron Wyatt Discoveries 2022. We're just gonna look at the evidence. Forget the person, because I know lots of people.
Wait a minute. I thought you said just to be clear. I thought you said that there were people turned to ash.
People would have been melted. We're talking about
why did you say that people turned to ash then?
The city had been turned to ash.
I'm pretty sure you said the people were turned to ash, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so what's the timestamp?
It's the first video. It starts straight in on there.
Yeah, but so like, what's the like what's because it's like a 50-minute video.
2 minutes into it.
Okay, so the 2 minutes into it, they're talking about Jericho.
Oh, you know the full one's 2 hours long. Ron White Discoveries.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so brilliant. Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Okay, so here we are. I can't listen to it either. So I'm seeing some grainy shaky footage of some desert. Fine.
You can do 4K now because as people go around it, you go to drones.
Okay, so now there's some pictures. Can I even turn the quality up? Yeah, I'll turn it up to 1080. That's fine. There's some like kind of blurry pictures. Now we're driving through a desert. There's a guy. There's another guy with a picture. There's more pictures. There's a picture of a mountain, and then they superimpose a city on it. Sus. Then there's some more pictures of like some wiggly rocks. There's some more pictures. Sorry?
But you can't show them. Carry on watching. I think it's interesting.
Okay, so now there's a guy. Now there's a blurry video of a guy holding a rock and putting it in a bag. There's a picture of a rock sitting on some stone that it's like a white rock. Presumably this is sulfur. And now there's a video of that rock melting on what looks like concrete. And now there's another picture of the same rock zoomed out. Let me just show people. I won't play the video, but I'll just show people what it looks like, just so people can know what I'm seeing.
Cool.
So this is the sulfur. This is like what we're seeing. It's just like this shot of like the single sulfur thing in the rock, right? Now let's keep going. Oh, and then here's another bit with a whole bunch of sulfur balls. But this is like in a container. Yeah.
People sell those.
Let's keep going forward. Now here's a bit of probably Ron Wyatt digging something out of a piece of dirt. And now he's holding the thing. Let me see if I can get a good picture. Here's him holding the thing he dug out, and it's like some sort of stone of some kind. And then that's not even Ron Wyatt, I don't think. I think it's just some other guy. Now this guy is lighting something on fire on the stone. It's not clear. Oh, let's see. So here, I can't play the video, but let me just kind of skip through. So here we have a guy, and then he's holding up a lighter to a thing that's in the rock, and then it melts. So that could be sulfur in the rock.
Yeah.
And then there's another witness of a guy who's finding some rocks, and he just basically did the same thing. And it seems like I'm just skipping through really quick. It seems like that's basically it. I've seen a total of 3 rocks actually in the ground that look like sulfur balls. I'm not seeing. Yeah, go ahead.
No worries. Have you gone to the structure of the city where you can see the roads? The whole place is massive, It's very easy to see natural formations like mountains, that kind of stuff, and then square buildings with windows and doors and
yeah. So
and parades.
okay, so this kind of
it's
sounds
very
exactly like
unusual
what I
shape.
was. This kind of sounds like exactly what my issue was. So like we saw one picture of a sulfur ball in some rock matrix. Then we saw 2 videos of some guys lighting something on fire in a rock, and it looked like it kind of melted. So that is evidence of 3 sulfur balls, one of which we have no idea where it is. Actually, we don't have any idea where any of them are, but maybe the 2 people are in the place that they say they are. And that's it. This isn't fields of sulfur balls. This isn't obviously a city. Like this is not good evidence.
2 seconds. It's not great evidence because you've only shown one aspect of it. If you
I just skimmed through these entire 17 minutes.
Hang on, Blitz. To the audience, just so I can kind of get a judge of your character, are there videos that go back and show you the actual structure of a city?
In this, in like this 17-minute bit?
Yeah.
There are definitely, like, I can even show this. Like there's this, like people definitely lived here. I don't know if this is a city.
Well, I mean, they could zoom out, but they could. The whole thing is a city. The shape is a city.
Like people lived here. This looks like people lived in like a rockside cave. Like this looks like a natural thing, right? These look artificial. These look natural. Like some of these things over here. These things could be artificial. This looks natural. This looks natural. This looks natural. Let's go back to earlier where they were doing this as well. This just looks like a stone, not like, this just looks like a stone wall, not like a artificial thing. Like almost all of this looks artificial. Like all of this looks like natural. Nothing looks like it's man-made.
I can say that. Okay.
This it just looks like normal cliffs. So like, I mean, like there's evidence that like some people lived here, but I don't know if I would call it a city. And there's like no evidence of like destruction. There's no evidence that at all that was presented of like these sulfur balls being all over the place. Like, is this what convinced you?
Well, yeah, and then I'd build on top of that one. So what I would do as a logical thinking man is I'd say, that's very interesting. I'd look into it for myself. And then once I have one of them, you understand the Bible is like a map. You have 50,000 archaeological digs in 30,000 areas to this day. So when I find one, I'd scratch my head and go, hang on, that crazy Christian person.
Wait a minute, just to be clear.
Many people follow
just to be clear,
book. I'm not finished. 2 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. Fine.
Thank you so much.
I just don't want to leave it off on Sodom and Gomorrah.
It makes me scratch my head. And then I'd go look at another one and I'd keep progressing, just going, hang on, this is one story. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a natural phenomenon. I don't think it is. It's ridiculous to suggest it when you've actually watched the evidence in full. Then I would progress to another one. And then I would build my faith and go, hang on, this is a statement. This is how I test things historically. The Bible says it. It says it's over here. This is the evidence I think he'd show. Then I go, look at the evidence. Does it match up? And I build it place on place until I have enough evidence to go, okay, now I've established that this book is a historical book. I would then want to read the content of the book. That's how it's a very big book. I don't want to waste my life on these things. So I would just establish truth first. Is it talking about real events? And do people outside at the time document the stories that happened there? So a circular argument is very simple, isn't it? The Quran has loads of them.
Adam,
we say it's true.
So before we move off of Sodom and Gomorrah, is there anything in that video that could not have been explained without a divine intervention?
You have to look at the opposite way. I like what you're suggesting here. So you have to look at naturalistic explanations. You would have
are there any naturalistic explanations for the things that they see in that video?
You look at the opposite ways, don't you? No. When you do the real research, there's no fish around there, no documentation of a meteor just blasting inside the area.
Origins of native sulfur ball from the, it's a Taiwanese word, hydrothermal field offshore northeast Taiwan. Evidence from trace and rare earth element compositions. They're finding sulfur balls that are 97 to 98% pure, or to 99% pure. Like these are things that can occur naturally.
Could they show me it? I've never seen it.
Yeah, I just showed you.
When was it paper released? I've never seen it.
It's 2011.
Great. What was the date?
It's 2011.
Evidence of trace rare earth elements. Okay, cool. I'd love to see them.
sulfur balls seem like that they can arise naturally.
Yeah, sulfur balls. Well, no, sulfur does, not sulfur balls.
No, these are sulfur balls.
Can you show me a picture of them?
In the text itself, it says native sulfur ball.
I can type a text. They've got Harry Potter.
This is an academically published paper. Like,
I don't care what it says. People lie. The world is evil.
You're right. People lie, like Ron Wyatt.
You're attacking Ron Wyatt, not his evidence.
You just attacked these people saying that they're lying.
He's a man. I'm fallible. You're fallible. People lie. They have agendas. But I would look at his evidence and regardless who found it. It's a stupid way to do research. It's disingenuous. I would say, okay.
Who found it? Zhigong Zhang, Chen Tung A Chen, Zhu Bo Yin, Zhu Ying Zhang, Zhao Yuan Wang, Gualu. Like, it's just random archaeologists, my guy.
Cool.
So
Great,
like,
I've not seen it.
So like they're lying, and Ron Wyatt is definitely telling the truth. Is what it
Ron
sounds
Wyatt's
like.
presenting the evidence to the public.
No, he didn't. He just like okay. Do you think that you can lie with videos? Oh, by the way, here are the sulfur balls. Here's the pictures, by the way.
Congratulations. That's yellow. That's lower sulfur.
No, this is like 99%.
It says it's 99. Have you studied sulfur before?
Have you? Sulfur is yellow. Yeah, pure sulfur is pure yellow.
No, it's got loads of trace elements in it which make it yellow. The purer it gets, the whiter it gets.
Hold on.
I have studied this area.
I mean, I just don't think that's true. But
that's your opinion.
Okay,
I'm making
I don't think it's my opinion. This is a Wikipedia article. That is pure crystalline sulfur.
Okay.
In fact, I bet you if I did a Control F, oops, did not mean to do that. I bet you if I did a Control F for yellow, we would find elemental sulfur is a bright yellow crystalline solid at room temperature. I don't know if you can see this. Like that's pure elemental sulfur. Has nothing to do with impurities. It's yellow.
Elemental being coming from the earth.
Elemental meaning it's pure. Sulfur is an element, right? It's an element of the periodic table. Elemental sulfur is just pure elemental, meaning that that's the only element present, sulfur.
You may be right. You may be right.
I thought you looked into this. Like this is the third time that you've said that you've looked into something and you've just been wrong about it.
60% and 70% the purity of sulfur found occurring naturally on the earth and volcanoes. We don't have anything else.
The pictures that I showed you are 97 to 99% pure.
97. Okay, congratulations. Okay,
those are found in Taiwan, naturally occurring. Unless you think they rain down sulfur in Taiwan.
Why do you not believe the Bible to be true?
Sorry?
Why do you believe the Bible not to be true?
Because there are things that it says in it that are false.
Okay. What if you may have issues with what God says is good and bad. Are you aware of the mathematical patterns inside the Bible?
I'm sure you're about to tell me about them, so go ahead.
Okay. There's a heptatic structure underneath them. Have you heard of Ivan Panin?
I have no idea what that word means, or if that's a person.
It's a sevenfold structure. It's a sevenfold structure.
I've never heard of this.
Okay. So inside the text of the King James Bible, the Hebrew and the Greek, we see patterns underneath them. So from the lineage of Matthew from 1 to 11, everything's divisible by 7 to 49 times.
Okay.
So the number of nouns, the number of women, the number of men, the number of all these things are divisible by 7. It continues.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Well, man can't produce that.
Sure they can.
Have you studied it?
These are just numbers. People can produce patterns with numbers. What's the issue?
For the audience, is a guy called Ivan Panin, a Russian mathematician. Went to Harvard, escaped Russia, and produced papers
How do you
on
spell
it.
that?
Avanpanin. Ivan Panin.
I'm sorry, one more time. I was typing something else. So it's IVANPA. Okay.
N-I-N.
Yeah. So Ivan Panin, and this is something about like he was a Russian translator.
The mathematics in Matthew. Chuck Missler.
Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure he wasn't a mathematician. He was a translator.
No. Ivan Panin, mathematics, Bible codes, and type in Chuck Missler. Chuck
Oh, Ivan Panin. Okay, there was an Ivan Panin who was. Oh wait, no. There is an Ivan Panin who's a mathematician, but he does algebra, algebraic geometry, and algebraic K theory. That's probably not the person you're referring to.
Well, just put Chuck Missler next to it because he kind of.
Sorry, what's his name? Chuck.
Chuck Missler, Missler.
Okay, beloved numerologist. Okay, so okay, so we're looking for this. So I found a blog. With
because it's empirical evidence, it's not about theology.
Well, wait a minute, but where's the evidence that this couldn't have been made by people?
You'd have to look into it. It'd take you.
What can you summarize it?
Yeah, the heptatic structure. The heptatic structure is it's a fancy word for 7. God's calling card is 7. It seems to be all the way through the scriptures.
Right,
I'm sure anyone with basic literacy.
How do you figure that this couldn't have been done by people?
The way that it's using words that aren't used before. There's 49 divisibles.
This is just numerical structure. People understand numerical structures.
When you do it again, it's the 49 times. So you times the 49 by 7 again.
If I could find remarkable numerical... So actually, interestingly enough, you've spoken with Muslims, yeah?
Yeah, of course I have.
So Muslims, they claim that the Quran has thousands of numerical miracles, right?
Bro, listen, I debate Muslims for years.
I have as well. But they make to me, your claim and their claim identically nonsense.
They do, but it's laughable what they're talking about.
I agree. This kind of numerological stuff is laughable.
Have you looked into the Hebrew one, so the original text of their examples?
I can read Hebrew.
Sod, don't you?
So
okay,
of the original texts, the original text wasn't in Hebrew for them. The Quran was not written in Hebrew.
Oh, no, forget the Quran. That's nonsense. I'm not talking about the Quran.
So to be clear, what I'm saying is, what makes your claims about the numerical miracles more reasonable than their claims about the numerical miracles?
Because when you look and pore over the evidence and you see the chances of it happening, in there, it's intellectual dishonesty to say that man created this. It goes to
they say the exact same thing.
I've looked at them and I laugh. I debate them. It's nonsense.
I mean, look, I'm looking at yours. I'm looking at theirs. They seem identical. They seem identically silly.
Read what it's claiming. Just the buff. Just see what Ivan Panin's claiming. I could read it for you.
Yeah. So he claims. So Ivan Panin. This is an 18. By the way, I don't actually is.
Heptatic structure.
I don't know why I can't go find Ivan Panin writing on this rather than Chuck Missler referring to it. But anyway, so we have the heptatic structure. Okay, so, obviously 7 was important to the ancient Hebrews. Sabbath was on the 7th day, the 7 years of plenty. That's all not surprising, not miraculous. It's just a number that they thought was reasonable. Now, here's a case about some miracle, I guess. One of the simplest and most provocative aspects of the biblical text is the vocabulary used. The number of vocabulary words in the passage is normally different from the total number of words in a passage. Some words are repeated. It is easy, for example, to use a vocabulary of 500 words to write an essay of 4,000 words. Okay, fine. The first 17 verses of the Gospel of Matthew are a logical unit or section which deals with a single principal subject, the genealogy of Christ. It contains 72 Greek vocabulary words in these initial 17 verses. The verse divisions are man's allocation for convenience added in the 13th century. For number of words, which are nouns, is exactly 56, or 7 times 8. Oh, you got us. 7 times 8 is 56. The Greek word the occurs most frequently in the passage, exactly 56 times, or 7 times 8. Oh, we did it again. Also, the number of different forms of the which, or the number of different forms in which the article the occurs is exactly 7. Oh no, this is impossible to do by humans. There are 2 main sections in the passage, verses 1 through 11 and 12 through 17. In the first main section, the number of Greek vocabulary words is 49, or 7 times 7. Oh, we did it again. Why not 48 or 50? Well, I mean, why not? That's a great question. Of these 49 words, the number of those beginning with the value is 28, or 7 times 4. 28 is 7 times 4, y'all. What about the number of words beginning with a consonant? Well, that's 21, which is 7 times 3. Crazy. The total number of letters in these 49 words is 266, or 7 times 38. Exactly. That's nuts. Now, this is this is in the first main section, but we can keep reading. Of the 49 words, the number of words which occur more than once is 35, or 7 times 5, which then means that the number of words that only occur once is also a multiple of 7. The number of words which occur only in one form is exactly 42. Okay, so we get the message, right? So what about, sure. I mean, fine. The point is like, cool. Who cares? Why? How does this mean God is involved?
At the beginning, it sounded silly.
The whole thing sounds silly.
Okay. So you have the Torah that was given to Moses on the mountain, don't you? And you have
I don't think that's true.
Skipping. No, I know you don't. But what they show in the Hebrew, every 49 letters, which is a Shemitah cycle, you have the word Torah spelled forwards. The second book, it spells Torah forwards. The fourth book, it spells Torah backwards every 49 letters.
So do you think that this
and
is...
The last book,
so Adam, I'm sorry. Do you think that this has ever convinced anybody?
Yeah.
Who?
Because man can't produce that book.
I don't think that this is convincing for somebody who doesn't already believe what you believe in.
No, actually, one of the young men in my city came to the faith who realised that the text was supernatural, man can't produce it, and then became a believer that way. There's many ways to skin a cat. This is why I started with you with quantum physics, asking, can you show a contradiction between the triune God and quantum physics? So it's a challenge.
Oh, well, quantum physics doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the Trinity, but we shouldn't get off topic.
Well, I opened up on that one. I would love the audience could do it. I did open up on that one because I thought it might interest you. If
you want to go back to quantum physics, we can. So what's the claim? Is the claim that God is in a superposition of 3 different states?
Yeah. It's superposition. He knows the hairs on your head. He knows the
so you're telling me God is in a superposition of 3 different states?
No, that's entanglement, isn't it? Superpositioning is operate. Superposition means they can do multiple.
No, it's not entanglement. I mean, you can have tripartite entanglement as well.
3 things connected.
You can have tripartite entanglement as well, but then that just means that you're doing partialism.
W wave. That's entanglement.
Right. But then you're just doing partialism, and partialism is a heresy.
And there's 1 essence, 3 distinctions, isn't it?
Just because they're entangled doesn't mean that they're 1 essence.
Okay, so when you have light, do you know what a hologram is?
Yes, I know what a hologram is.
Okay, so when you break a hologram, you still have the fullness of it, even though it's split, don't you?
I have no idea what you mean by that. When you are you talking about like a physical hologram, like a glass plate?
Yeah, if I have this,
if you break it in half, you will still have half of it.
Half of them, but when you break a hologram, you have the same image, just smaller. You don't lose any information.
I mean, you do lose information. You lose information of what it looks like from certain angles. You lose part of that information. That's the whole business of a hologram. I mean, the hologram encodes phase. So you can see it then from another angle by turning it, but you can't see it from that angle, right?
Then you can walk around and see the whole thing.
Right. So the point of a hologram is that it encodes directional information at every pixel. They're not really pixels, but if you cut away half of it, you no longer can view it from that side, right?
You could change your angle to view it, couldn't you?
Look, but you can't view it from that side, so you lose the information of the hologram from that side, from the side that you broke away.
That's just an angle. That's just your perception.
Yeah, that's information that you no longer have, right? If you had a
you
color
hologram, angle and the information comes
back. For example, if you have a color hologram and you paint and you have a color hologram, say, and you have like a cube. Sorry,
you're wrong on this one.
I'm giving you an example. You'll understand what I mean in a second. Let's say that you have a color hologram, which you can make. They're more complicated, but you can make them. And let's say that you have like an apple that's painted in a way that, or let's say that you paint numbers on the apple, right? So you start with 1, and then you 2 all the way around. You paint a number for every degree that you can go around the apple. So there's 360 numbers on the hologram. Now, and then 360 numbers on the apple. Now, of course, in the hologram, you can't see the back of the apple, right? Because of course you can't. There's an apple in the way. But if the hologram's whole, then you can turn it, and you could probably see like the right side of the apple. And then if you turn it the other way, you can see the left side of the apple, right? But if you break the hologram in half, you won't be able to see the right side of the apple anymore. So you will no longer have the information of what was written on the right side of the apple. You'll only be able to see what's on the left side of the apple by turning it.
We didn't lose the information.
So why can't you see what's on the right side of the apple if you didn't lose any information?
Because your angle.
So that's information that you lost. If somebody wrote a message on the right side of the apple, you wouldn't have that information anymore.
This is a silly argument.
You're right, it's silly because you were wrong about it. It was a terrible example.
Are you ever wrong about something?
I'm wrong about a lot of things, just not about physics, not often.
I know, same. I'm just trying to find some nice common ground. Yeah, we can be wrong. What are your thoughts on prophecy? I write these things before to show that I am God. So if God is outside time, space,
prophecies that Jesus fulfilled?
Outside of time, space, and matter, what about the countries that are surrounding Israel now, that prophesied in the Bible?
I'm not too convinced that. So in order for a prophecy to be compelling to me, it would have to be specific,
on TV.
It would have to be rare, and it would have to be time gated.
Cool. So are you familiar with what the Bible says about the state of Israel and the end times and the nations that will come against it?
Which particular prophecy?
Ezekiel 38 to 39 and Psalms 83.
38 to 39, you say?
Ezekiel 38 to 39. Let me make sure. I think it is.
So, you're talking about the entire chapters, right? Like Ezekiel 38 and 39?
Yeah.
Okay.
38.
Right, sure. Okay, so which specific verses are we referring to? Because it's like,
I'm sure just by reading it, you're starting to realize Gog.
Right. I mean, like, there's Gog and Magog and all of this stuff. Persia and Cush and Put with them, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now when did it say that this would happen? When's the specific time-dated prophecy?
Ezekiel's quite, should we take this down?
Vague, you might say?
No, God, no. No, no. The Bible builds on itself, so the prophecy is...
So there were three criteria, right? There was, it has to be specific, it has to be
correct,
rare, and it has to be time-gated.
Why does it say it has to be time-gated?
Otherwise, if I said that there will be war in
when
East
you
Asia,
see these things.
So if I said please, I'm explaining. If I said in the future there will be war between China and Korea or something, if I just said that, then, and I didn't say when, then that's something that we would reasonably expect to happen eventually, right? And so if you don't put a time gate on it, then you're just basically opening it up to, it could happen at any time, and there's no way for the prophecy to be proven false, right? Because if there's not a time gate, then you can't say, oh well, it hasn't happened yet, so it didn't come true. You could just say, oh, it just hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen in the future, right? That's why they have to be time gated. Yeah, so 2
Timothy 3 would kind of
I'm sorry, we're still on Ezekiel 38:39. So Ezekiel 38:39, is that specific?
Talking about the
is
end
it
of
rare?
the age. These are the signs pointing to Jesus Christ.
Okay, so Ezekiel 38 and 39, is it specific? Is it rare? Is it time gated?
It's specific, rare, and time gated.
Okay, so where does it talk about when it'll happen?
Just read it. Let's read it.
Can you give me a verse, because I'm not going to read the entire 2 chapters right now.
The Bible's a very big book, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying,
Son of
man, thy face. The Bible.
Do you not know when it says? Why are you saying this if you don't know when it says it'll happen?
It's at the end of the age.
So when is that?
The Christians believe and the Jews believe in a 7-day week. A day is like 1,000.
Okay, so when is this supposed to happen?
The 6,000, around the 6,000, leading up to Jesus Christ's return.
Okay, so this hasn't happened yet then.
It's 2,000 years old, isn't it?
So then this hasn't happened yet.
No.
Okay,
it's happening now.
So to be clear, the prophecy has not been fulfilled?
No, it's being fulfilled now. All these nations are coming against it. Let's read the nations.
I thought it was supposed to happen like 6,000 years from when it was written.
No,
is that what you just said?
That's the age of the earth. The 7,000 years.
Okay, so...
How much did you know the Bible
when is this supposed to happen? When is this supposed to happen?
Well, it's happening now, isn't it? It's demonstrable.
When is it supposed to happen? I'm not asking, it's happening now. When is it supposed to happen?
just before the Messiah
Like, what
comes.
year is this supposed to happen
The
by?
nation of Israel was
What
formed in
year
one
is
day.
this supposed to happen by?
It doesn't say.
Okay, so it doesn't give a time gate.
Should we read it, Blitz?
Well, if it doesn't say that, then it's irrelevant. I don't care about vague prophecies that could just be fulfilled in the future.
It's going through all the countries that are uniting against Israel, and we've just been watching it for the past few years. We've literally watching this on the TV.
Okay, so
screen.
which so is Jordan
is
Jordan
interesting.
listed here? Is Iran listed
Well,
here?
you-
Is
Oh,
Syria
the-
listed
Persia.
here? Lebanon,
Persia.
Egypt, Persia isn't Iran, by the way. They were like different nation states.
Okay. In the Bible,
Mhm.
it's going to use the old dates, so they're timeless.
Right,
so
but
we know
Persia
they are.
doesn't exist anymore. Right.
Russia,
But
August, China.
Persia doesn't exist anymore, right?
Is how do you have a timeless book and send prophecy to people?
Well, you could say the people
the logic
of
of it,
you could
yeah.
say the people of XYZ city. You could say the people who lived in the mountain this. But Persia, as a nation, that doesn't exist anymore, right?
Okay. Should we read it and see what the audience think?
I mean, we're not going to read the whole thing on live. It mentions
As
the land of Magog.
38 to 39,
It mentioned
they can look at it.
yeah. It's 2 full chapters. We're not going to read those on live. There's Persia,
Well,
Cush,
I'm
and
saying,
Put are mentioned.
for the-
There's Gomer. There's the house of Togarmah. Are any of these real places that exist today?
Yeah, they're what they were called at the time.
Okay, so they don't exist today, is what you're telling me.
The areas of them do, and it so happens that we've been watching them.
Okay,
from
so the
one and
house
one
of
to one
Togarmah
nation.
exists today?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so
Pull it up,
what is the house of Togarmah? Because the house of Togarmah is not an area, it's a people group. It would be like the descendants of a house, right? So what is that people?
Let me find it. Image.
Armenians, apparently.
There you go.
Are
Armenians.
the Armenians fighting against the like Israel?
How do you spell Tagama?
Togarmah.
Togama. We could have read it by now, you know.
It's like 40 verses. It just and like
Region of Armenia, modern day Turkey. Cool.
are Turkey or Armenia currently at war with Israel?
Are they going against it?
No.
So the Muslim
Armenia's-
Caliphate is.
Turkey isn't the Muslim Caliphate, nor is Armenia.
Okay.
This is in fact, Armenia is a Christian country. Ancient Kush, by the way, is like, I guess it would be like where Sudan is now.
Yeah.
Is Sudan currently fighting against Israel?
Well, they've got the troops. It's Islamic, isn't it? It's Islam against Israel.
Oh, so now we're not talking about the specific countries. We're talking about just generally Islam.
Well, we'll look at where the countries are around. Look at where they're taught.
And by the way, not all of Sudan is Islamic.
I know there's not. There's nowhere is 100% anything.
No, I mean like there's like a big, like there's a huge like, you know, like probably genocide happening in Sudan right
I'm
now
fully aware.
between like Islamists being, you know, supported by the UAE and then non-Islamic people, right? So like what is happening? Like this has nothing to do with Israel, right? Sudan is not against Israel right now. Neither is Egypt. Egypt and Israel are allies, or at least have peace. I mean, you know, they're
Come on.
They probably don't have an alliance, like not a mutual. The RSF are not Islamic. Okay, I could have gotten that backwards. Hold on.
No, if you hadn't just simply read it, and then put Psalms 83, and it's amazing they're talking about a nation that didn't exist at the time, and then all these nations are coming around it, and what people say is it is the end times.
So to be clear, but none of this is happening, right? Currently, the nation state of Israel has conflicts with like Yemen and Palestine and probably Lebanon. And are any of those listed here? No.
Let's just.
I guess probably Syria, although I think Syria probably has more stuff going on. And Iran. Well, they're not in active conflict with Iran,
Why
right?
do you just type in Ezekiel 38 to 39 map prophecies, and it'll just show you.
Okay, let's do that.
Perfect. And then you can pull it up and see if we're all crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're looking for Ezekiel 38 and 39. Here we go.
And then Psalm 83.
Okay, here we go. So they mention Cush, which is Sudan, not in conflict with Israel. They mention Persia, which is not Iran, by the way. They mention Tagarma, which is Armenia, which is not in conflict with Israel. Turkey, not in conflict with Israel. Put Libya, Algeria, not in conflict with Israel. Like none of these. What are you doing?
That's with Psalm 83. So go to Psalm 83 and the map.
Oh, so it's not just Ezekiel now?
No, it's Ezekiel. This happens later. Okay, there's a war.
So it looks like that. So to be clear, the prophecy in Ezekiel 38 has not come true.
No, but it's coming true.
Okay, so we agree that it's not true. The prophecy has not been fulfilled.
It's not fully happened yet.
Okay, so that means that the prophecy has not been fulfilled.
Not fully fulfilled. Go to Psalm 83.
What does it mean for a prophecy that has not? So the terms of the prophecy have not come true, correct?
Not fully, no.
Okay, which means that the prophecy hasn't come true.
So we're putting one in front of the other first. So you build on Psalm 83, then you go to Ezekiel 38, 39. Pull it up. Have a check.
I'm pulling up the text of Psalm 83 right now.
Psalm 83. And go to the image, because that was a lot more helpful.
Okay. Well, I want to take a look at what the text says first. So Psalm 83 mentions, making sure I'm not getting. It mentions the tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagrites, Byblos, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, with the people of Tyre. Even Assyria has joined them to reinforce Lot's descendants. Do to them as you did to Midian, as you did to Sisera. Okay, so actually, is this even a prophecy?
The Psalms are prophetic.
A prophecy has to be about the future, right? And this is not written in the future tense. This is not about the future.
How well do you know your Bible?
I'm sorry? How well do I know it? I mean, I've read it before, like 2 or 3 times over the course of my life. The Hebrew Bible, anyway.
2 times?
Yeah. I went to Hebrew school for a while. You know, you go over these things. But like, this is not about the future, right? There's nothing in future tense here. In fact, it's written in the past tense. Partially, anyway. But we can go look at the map if you want. We can see what it says. Okay, here's a map. Just for you. So here we have a map, right? So here we have Philistia. Yeah, definitely some stuff going on in Philistia. And then we have Hagrites, Ammon, Moab, Amalek, Edom, Ishmaelites, Gebal, Tyre. So, and then Assyria, for some reason. Assyria is not at war with Israel. Neither is Jordan, for that matter. Jordan would be the Hagrites, Ammon, and Moab. Neither is Amalek. Amalek, that is currently part of the nation state of Israel. Here we have the Ishmaelites, which would be Edom, and the Edom and the Ishmaelites would be like, I guess, like Saudi Arabia, probably. They're not at war with Israel either. So like, yeah, they got like Tyre and Philistia correct. And like maybe Ammon, if that's where the West Bank is, although it's kind of hard to see because it's not really zoomed in very much. But yeah, like this is just not really accurate. Like these peoples aren't all at war with Israel either. So like, look, it seems like neither of the prophecies have come true. In fact, I don't even think that the Psalms is a prophecy. because it's not written in the future tense. So I don't know, man. Like, this just doesn't seem like it's a win for you. Oh, he's having connection issues, it looks like. All right, he's having some connection issues. I think that that's probably a good place to end it anyway. That was a slog. But we prevail. We will prevail. Let's move on to our next guest. Oh, let's read some super chats. He just was all over the place. And like, look, the thing is it's just hard to look good when you don't know what you're talking about. So from Peter Hegwood with the $10, Dr. Blitz, you are a master debater. Keep up the great work. Love your streams. Well, I appreciate that. We have $5, €5 from Duke of Shostka. And that was the only negative entropy. That was the only negative of Egyptology. Too many weirdos around. Harder to hide the truth about them ancient aliens. Yeah, fair. Them ancient aliens are hard to hide. From Duke of Shostka again. First thing they teach future historians: never believe the primary source. Don't read sources. Read a book by a PhD. Yeah, that's exactly right. You should do that. Michael Solis sends $2. Evidence equals YouTube vids using his eyes is hilarious. Yeah, that was the whole thing, wasn't it? Fears Interactions sends $5. Thank you. Am I closed-minded if I disregard a person's entire pro-Christian argument once quantum mechanics enters into it? No, you are not closed-minded. That's just good pattern recognition. We have 5 Canuck bucks from Garba Gaiman. Alternative hypothesis: ancient people found natural sulfur deposits in a creepy area and made up a story that it used to be a city. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that could be the case. We have a corgi being sent by Tig Money Garbers. Thank you. Tig Money also sends $5. This is quite an interesting conversation. I'm happy people are talking about such things in an academic manner. Well, I don't know if it was academic, but I appreciate that you appreciate it. Tig Money sent a few corgis. I think it just... I don't know if you sent like 4 corgis or if it just went through 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. I think that it's a bug. Duke of Shostka says, dude, Persia is an exonym. They call themselves Aryan or Iranians since before Cyrus, so Persia does exist. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. Although surely it's not like the same kingdom, right? Game Master Flash sends $10, saying he kept saying put it to the audience. That's an argument ad populum, but for the record, as a member of the audience, the Bible is full of it. Yeah, fair. And then also, we got an enormous donation from one Shay of $100 for balancing out the karma in the name of atheism. Thank you so much, Shay. I appreciate you. All right, let's move on to our next guest. Always appreciated. Shay is a long-time watcher, long-time contributor, long-time donator, so... Let's talk to Kari. Oh, Kari didn't connect. Oh, I should remind you guys. So I do have debate notes. If you haven't seen them, debate notes, right? Has theism, young earth, MAGA science, has a whole bunch of stuff, right? If you want access to these, then you will have to, there's only one way, and it's via becoming a member on YouTube. It's like $5 a month or something. Or becoming a patron on Patreon. Again, like $5 a month. You can get access to it, to my notes that I update on the regular with, you know, resources and things like that. So consider it. All right, let's talk to John Stone. That's 2 ways. You're right. There are 2 ways, but both of them involve $5 a month. So I do have to shill for myself. That's absolutely a thing that I have to do.
Hey, can you hear
John,
me?
how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Do you believe in God, John?
Yes.
All right, and which one would that be?
Well, this is all my personal opinion. I believe in just my personal opinion. I believe in a spirit world, a Manichaeanism, a Gnosticism, an afterlife, if you will.
Okay, so, but you believe in a God?
I believe in, yes, I believe that there are good and evil spirits, and I'm trying to do everything I can. Go ahead.
You keep saying that you, like, I ask you if you believe in a God, and then you say, yeah, I believe in good and evil spirits. Like, is that a God? Do you believe that there's an entity that created the universe?
Yes.
Okay. What properties does that entity have?
Properties.
Like, is it all powerful? Is it
Yeah.
has it existed
Well,
forever? Does it love us? Like, what properties does it have?
kindness, love, understanding.
By the way, your mic is really quiet, and I'm doing my best to adjust, but it's still pretty
Oh.
quiet. Would you be able to
Here,
talk
is
closer
that-
to your mic?
Yeah, is that better?
Doesn't seem like it is. No.
Here, how about that? Is that better?
Let me see if I can turn you up here. Try again.
Here, let me see. Here, how's that? Is that any better?
Maybe.
Okay, here, I'll hold. I have a case, so I'll just hold it and see if that helps.
Okay. It seems like
Yeah.
it's better. Okay, great.
Okay.
So you believe in a God that created the universe.
Yes.
It loves us, you said?
It's wants us to be kind to one another.
Okay.
Generally speaking, yeah.
And so why should I believe that this entity exists?
Okay, so I'll tell you kind of how I came to this personal experience, if that's okay.
Oh, so you telling me about your personal experience is like when somebody tells you about their dream, like it might be meaningful to you, but I don't care about your personal experience at all.
Fair enough. Okay.
I mean, like
how
it just
about
won't
this?
it just won't be compelling to me.
Oh, that's fine. How about this? Are you familiar with Aleister Crowley and Michael Aquino?
Mildly.
Okay, so they are the reasons, to me, in my view, that they're Luciferian, right? They're occultists. So if there is evil in the world, then there is good, and I try and act in a way to be good.
Okay, but why should I think that this has anything to do with like a being that created the universe existing?
Okay, well, I think that discussing Crowley and Aquino would really help it get across. I mean, if you want to pull
What
that
if
up,
I think that they're wrong too?
well, you could think they're wrong. I mean, that's so you think that I just want to make sure I understand. You think that Satanism is just as silly as Christianity?
Yeah, the kind of
You
Satanism
just think
that
it's all
Crowley
you just
and
think it's all
I think it's yes, I think it's silly.
okay. So there's no. You just think none of it's true, right? That's
Yeah, I think none of it's true.
okay. No, and that's look. You might be right. Okay, but when I learned about, I mean, Crowley, this was they're practicers of black magic, and I just think it works.
Okay, what does this
And
have to do with the
if
God
you
existing?
well, if black magic works, then well, you don't think it does, right?
No, I don't think it does.
Okay. And are you familiar with? And I imagine you are, and because you're a very smart person. EMF frequencies.
Yeah, can you explain what that acronym means?
Electromagnetic frequencies.
So EMF frequencies?
Yes.
Okay, so EMF stands for electromotive force?
Well, I thought it was electromagnetic frequency. Am I wrong on that?
No.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm describing this is because Michael Aquino, and I was actually a little bit nervous about having this conversation because I don't want to piss off the deep state too much. You know, Michael Aquino was connected to military. I know people just think I'm crazy anyway, so it doesn't matter. But well, Michael Aquino was with military intelligence.
Okay, what does any of this have to do with God existing?
Well, he is Luciferian.
Look, so I want you to fill in the blank. God exists, or rather, you should believe God exists because
evil exists and we should be good.
it seems like evil existing and us necessarily, or it seems like evil existing and therefore we should be good has nothing to do with God existing.
But see this. I used to be more like.
Suppose evil exists. Why does that mean God exists?
Well, okay, so if Lucifer exists, then does God?
Suppose evil exists, not Lucifer. I don't think Lucifer exists either.
You don't think it exists? Okay, right. Well, I do, or I see it. Well, this is our difference, and that's fine. But really, for me, going through, I actually refreshed myself on Aquino and Crowley here just in the last few days, you know, and
Are we gonna talk about whether or not God exists?
that's what I'm trying to talk to you about.
So what's the reason?
Do you just not want to talk about these people? This is like my whole.
I think that they were wrong too. I need like some sort of evidence or some sort of argument from you that would give me reason to believe that it's true, that like this being that created the universe exists. That's what I need from you.
Well, that's what I'm trying to provide you. I mean, maybe I'm just not. Maybe you don't like the.
But you keep bringing up these random guys who are Satanists. I think they were wrong too.
Okay, well here, let me. Okay, how about this? The Yahtzees of WW2 were really into the occult too, right?
Yeah, they were really into it. I think that they were stupid for being into it. I think they were stupid for other reasons too.
Right. Well,
I shouldn't say stupid.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were stupid, but like,
Evil.
but
Wicked.
like being into the occult, like I think that they were wrong about that. Yeah.
Okay. But all right, yeah. If you don't, if I can't discuss Crowley and Aquino, this is the whole reason I'm a believer.
You're a believer because
because if
do you have any evidence for God existing? How about that?
Evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Can I prove now? I mean, look, I believe that the Earth is 4 billion years old. I believe in the Big Bang. I'm sure you can explain it to me a lot better than. I think that's true, but I don't think I think there's an afterlife. I think there's a spirit world.
There can be an afterlife, and still there cannot. That doesn't mean that there's a God. Those things are not the same thing.
Okay, well, but you don't believe in an afterlife, do you?
I don't, but that's also not the topic of conversation.
Well, isn't it an afterlife and God? Isn't that?
No, those are separate things. You can believe in an afterlife,
Really?
like if you're a Buddhist, for example, you can believe in an afterlife even while you're an atheist. You can believe in a spirit world and be an atheist. You can believe in demons. You can believe in demons and devils and spirits and all of these things and still be an atheist.
Believing in a spirit world and being an atheist would be antithetical in my view. No.
No. There are lots of atheists who hold those views. I think that they're kind of silly, but there are lots of atheists who hold those views.
I just thought, well, maybe our definitions are off. Okay, and look,
an atheist is somebody who doesn't believe in a God.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not trying to frustrate you, and I'm being really serious here. You know,
I just want to talk about the topic, not spirits, not evil. I want to talk about like, you think a God exists. Why do you think a God exists?
Because I think Lucifer exists. That's why.
Okay, why do you think Lucifer exists?
And Lucifer controls the material world.
Why do you think Lucifer exists?
But this is what I'm trying to explain with Aquino and Crowley.
Right. But suppose like maybe they believed Lucifer existed. Why do you believe Lucifer? Like do you just believe Lucifer existed because they believed Lucifer existed?
I'm just very familiar. Look, I used to be more like you. I was more of an agnostic. Okay, so what is agnostic? That maybe not. Is that fair to say? You know, I used to be that.
I'm sorry. This is it's just such a waste of time. Like it went nowhere. I'm sorry, John. You seem like a lovely guy. It's just like we just weren't getting anywhere. It seems like we had talked for 11 minutes and made no progress.
Yeah.
Kari, how's it going?
Hello. I'm well. How are you, Blitz?
I'm doing all right. I recognize your name for some reason. Have we spoken before?
We have talked before. You were on with Ian, and we talked for a while. We got into like contingency theory type stuff, or contingency arguments and stuff.
Okay. So, what do you want to talk about now?
Okay. I guess I don't remember where we left off last time, but I guess too much noise. Okay.
Yeah, there is a lot of noise. Are you at the club?
No, I'm at like my work break room. Give me like 10 seconds, please.
Okay.
Thanks. So while I go, I think that I guess I'll just kind of chat while I'm on my way to somewhere quieter. So Bismillah. First of all, I'm a Muslim, so that means one who submits to God. God being the one and only like divine entity. You asked the last guest about like the properties of God. So God is One, first of all, meaning that he's absolutely unique and he's indivisible and he's non contingent or dependent on any of his creation. And then he's also has other like attributes that you might be familiar with the Abrahamic God, such as being loving, all knowing, all powerful, etc. So let me pause there while I get in this elevator and see if you have any reactions to that real quick.
Yeah, so you think that there's like sure, standard kind of classical theism.
Correct. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm in an elevator.
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll give him a sec. Let me get some water. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
good.
okay,
Thanks for
welcome
that.
back. Okay, so
Appreciate
what's the
that.
argument
Yeah.
that you want to run today?
The argument. Okay, so forgive me if my like language is not very syllogistic or what you're used to when it comes to these things. I kind of
That's fine.
I'll use the language I know. So basically, my argument for God is the presence of miracles. I define miracles. You said it's worse. That's crazy.
What?
Can you hear me?
No, I don't. No, it's not
I'm
worse.
wondering if you can.
Your
Okay,
audio is a
cool,
little
cool,
low
cool.
though, so if you could talk closer to your mic, that'd be good.
The main proof is the presence of miracles.
That's so much better.
Okay, excellent. So the main reason is miracles or proof, or what we call ayat in Arabic. And everything in the created order is an ayat. So like the entire universe, everything in it, you, me, are called ayat or proof. And they're things which cannot be explained but for the presence of a divine creator.
So can you give me an example?
Yeah, so for example, like matter, right? At a fundamental level, we don't have like a good definition what matter is. Like we can continue to like peer deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and we see increasing orders of complexity, we see increasing orders of organization in ways that it makes it very difficult, like on an ontological level, to define what matter is.
We can define matter, no problem. Matter is just anything composed of fermions.
Sure. So I guess I'll ask you some clarifying questions then to make sure I don't jump down a quantum physics rabbit hole, stuff I don't know. So like, is it true that once you get into the particularities of, like, say what a fermion is or a quark of any sort, that like a lot of these things, like there's not like there's not a fundamental definition of like what composes these things or what they emerge from?
A fermion is just a type of particle. It's super well defined. It's a type of particle with a half-integer spin.
Right, but if I were to ask you like what constitutes a fermion, like
Some fermions are fundamental, like quarks and leptons. Electrons being a type of lepton. These are fundamental. They're not composed of anything. They are the bottom. At least, we may as well say that they're the bottom. Maybe we'll be wrong. Maybe we'll be wrong in 100 years, but all of the evidence points to them being the bottom.
And when you say the bottom, they're like the smallest thing that we can identify?
No, like that they're not composed of anything, that they're fundamental.
Okay, so they're the smallest thing. Okay, well, that being the case, for these things to exist, right? Say there is like a fundamental atomic particle, which I'm not saying there's not. For them to actually have existence, they have to be they're created first of all, so they come from something. Same with like
they arise from the the various fields that they're a part of. So they're excitations of the electron is an excitation of the electron field. A quark is an excitation of a quark field. And we would say that a thing is matter if it is composed of these excitations of fermion fields.
Oh, the field. Okay. The field though, just ontologically, its existence, it didn't produce itself, did it?
I don't know what it means. It's not clear to me that it needed to be produced.
So,
but also, to be clear, we're getting very, very far away from the original question, which is what's the definition of matter? And I gave you one.
Anything composed of fermions, right?
Yeah, it's a totally good definition of matter.
As far as we know, okay, but let's put it this way. I
don't know what you mean by as far as we know. We define words. We make up definitions for words. That is like the best working definition that I'm familiar with.
That's fine. But as far as
oh, where'd you
go? My low power mode.
You're fine.
Notification. Okay. We don't have complete knowledge of matter or like fermions.
Why is that required for us to define it?
I'm not saying it's required for us to define it. That's my fundamental point, is that we lack complete knowledge of the things, but I believe they exist. Like I believe.
So then what? So then where's the miracle?
Where's the miracle?
Yeah.
The miracle is the fact that it exists.
Why is that a miracle?
Because it's something that has existence that we can never totally explain. Like it's there.
Well, I mean, for example, that seems like an awfully big claim, right? To claim that we could never totally explain it?
Agreed.
How are you going to demonstrate that?
So I'll demonstrate it, like, I guess, logically or philosophically. So like this, how many possible true facts, or like how much truth, I guess, I'm going to try to like quantify truth and then show ultimately that it's infinite. So like how many true statements can you make about, like, say like this example fermion, right? How many true statements is it possible to make about it?
Like first order statements, like statements about the thing itself,
not only first order
just statements or just like propositions that involve it.
Propositions that involve it.
Okay, well then it could absolutely be infinite. But that's not particularly, like, you could say that there's infinite statements that you can make about anything, right?
They are in fact true, though. They're in fact true, right?
Well, they're either, I mean, if their propositions are either true or false, yeah, sure.
Infinite true propositions, like, so for example, like this water bottle.
I mean, look, and so the infinite true propositions you could get by just saying the electron has negative charge and the electron has negative charge. Well, that's true because it's a conjunction of true propositions, and then you could just stack as many of those together as you want. But that's not like there's not like meaningfully an infinite amount of information describing an electron, right?
Okay, it's like, say like you have its spin, its charge or something like that, and then again, not only first order statements, but its charge relative to, you know, the electron next to it, to where it was before, its position.
But charge isn't like a relative thing, right?
It's possible position, then, like its distance.
So I mean, it depends on what you're describing. Like there are some fermions that like just that are describable with like a finite number of bits, and there will be some fermions that, at least with the way that we currently describe things, would require an infinite number of bits to describe them, unless you invoke quantum gravity, and then maybe it requires a finite number of bits again. But like, look, I don't see, like, it's not clear to me that it requires an infinite amount of information to specify where something is, or to specify the details of an electron, for example.
Maybe not all the relevant details to you and me, but the amount of
all of the details, period, right?
All of like the possible details about it.
All of the facts about, like, if I take an electron, like, if I take an electron that's like, the electron that a hydrogen atom has, for example, you can describe that electron entirely with 3 numbers.
Okay, as far as like itself, but again, not only first order proposition. I'm talking about like that electron is also relative to like every other thing, every other thing about it. Its entire path, its entire
what's
future.
The point here? I mean, like, yeah, there are.
My point is that
if the universe is infinite, then there will be an infinite number of like possible relations. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Boom. So if the truth of those things, if those things exist and they really are true, basically it stands to reason that the truth transcends the actual manifest like matter, right? Like so truth,
I don't see how that follows.
because the truth is always greater than that through which we perceive it. Like so
How
we
are you
perceive,
how are you comparing like truth to the electron?
because the truth exists. So that's another part of my proposition, is that the truth has real existence, right? So Allah, God, one of his names or one of his attributes is like existence. So
Sure,
him
that's
existing.
fine.
And,
I don't hold
and
that view
he-
though.
And so what I'm trying to demonstrate without presupposing that is that the truth is a transcendent existence. Like the truth exists. There's such thing as the truth, and it transcends subjectivity.
Why should I think that the truth has ontology?
Because you interact with it all the time. You believe that 1 + 1 is true.
I don't think that I interact with truth. I don't think truth has ontology.
Okay, so do you believe that the truth exists?
If by exists you mean it has ontology, no. If by exists you mean like it's a property of like
what do you mean by
some
has
conceptual
ontology?
thing, then sure.
So do you only right. So let's go to this point then, because I think I a while ago heard you talking to someone about like seen things versus unseen things. So do you believe that ontology only means like material existence?
I think that like I suspect that like the things that exist are going to be things like electrons and like stars and like black holes and like I don't know electromagnetic waves. Like those are the things that exist. Like those things and then things like them.
Containing matter, right?
Arguably photons, electromagnetic waves are not matter. So
Okay.
but what I mean is those kinds of things.
Things
Now,
that
you can
are
call them maybe
available-
you can call them material, maybe you could call them physical, maybe.
Right.
I don't know what the right word is to categorize these things, but I suspect it's just those things.
Things that are like available to human like intellect and observation, so to
Not
speak.
necessarily. There could be things that we could never perceive, but still are like
Okay,
those
sure.
things in some way. But
Okay.
by the way,
Well, I guess my counterpoint to that would be
just before we move on, because we've kind of like meandered a lot. You were supposed to be giving me examples of like a miracle, right?
Right.
And it's still not clear to me what miracle it is that you're trying to say is a real thing.
Okay, so let me categorize miracles then. Let me just like before diving too deep. So we have all of created order is a miracle, and then the other the most profound miracle I would propose is the Quran, and then in addition, like kind of complementary to the Quran and alongside the Quran, you have the created order, right? And then in addition to the created order, you have the
Well, so to
like
be
the-
clear,
like-
the Quran itself, like you'd have a hard time showing that that's a miracle when like we know it was written by people.
No, we do not.
Yeah, we do. We know that Muhammad spoke and then his friends wrote it down.
Okay. As in the physical words, yes.
Yeah,
but
so we know that it was physically written by people, so you're going to have a hard time showing that it was miraculous.
Well, so again, the created aspect of order, so like everything, like matter, all this stuff, these are all miracles in the first place.
Can you define what a miracle is, please? Because I look around the universe and I'm like, that's not a miracle. So
yeah,
I don't know
the
what
miracle,
you're using.
a miracle is a synonymous with a proof of God, which is something that without God's existence and like part in its existence cannot exist.
Okay, so it sounds like you would need to demonstrate that, the existence of order could not exist without God.
Correct.
Okay,
And then
how are you going to demonstrate that?
So from that, I would reference scripturally the 112th chapter of the Quran, which is how I ground what philosophically, I guess, people understand as like contingency, which is the basic idea is God says, say that he is one, as in entirely, unique and alone in his essence. Allahu Samad, Allah is also entirely independent of anything
So
else to
you're asserting
exist.
a bunch of stuff. I don't believe in any of that. So you gotta back up and you gotta get from
Okay.
the universe is orderly, therefore, or rather the universe contains order, because it's not like all orderly, right? The universe contains order, therefore, what's the next step?
I think my train of thought was more going like, why are things miracles? Because you need God to explain them. Why do you need God to explain them? Because they are obviously dependent on other things for their existence, and because everything that we know and interact with is dependent, that strongly indicates the presence of a independent source or creator.
How does that follow? Suppose that like all of the things that you and I interact with are dependent. You're making like an evidential case or something like this, right?
Sure.
So you're saying, well, all of the things that we interact with are dependent. Therefore, everything is dependent. That's roughly the argument, right?
Correct.
So, and you mean, but you
everything available to empirical observation is dependent.
Right. Now, the evidence that you have for that is, roughly science. It's like roughly the material world. But the evidence for an equivalent thing, an equivalent statement that everything is dependent on something material is equally well supported.
Everything is dependent on something material? Huh?
Yeah, that claim is equally well supported, right?
I think we're making a really similar claim. Everything is dependent on something else.
Right.
Like just for now,
so the evidence for your claim is, all of the scientific stuff that we do, like the laws of physics and all this stuff. The evidence for my claim is the exact same. So it seems like between the two of our claims, they're identically supported.
I'm not sure that they're different right now. What's your claim?
My claim is that everything is dependent on something physical.
Okay, sure.
And it has just as much evidence as your claim, which is just that everything is dependent.
Okay, yeah. So excellent. So we have some
our
consensus.
claims are equally supported, and my claim implies that God does not exist, and your claim implies that God might exist. But the evidence for the two claims are equal. Which conclusion do we draw?
So I would argue that your claim fails logically because
what's the logical failure?
Because if we're just in a big circle of dependency, like say the universe, like what the universe is, right? It's just one big circle of dependent things only depending on each other with no grounding, then ultimately
who says that it's circular? It could be just an infinite regress as well. And to be clear, when you say dependent, you mean let's just get really, really specific about what we mean. Do you mean like some sort of grounding relation, or do you mean some sort of causal relation?
So for the first, ontologically, I think like God is both. He's like both the proximate cause of every single thing.
I'm not talking about God. I'm just asking, when you say everything is dependent on something, what sense of dependent are you using?
For now, let's go with caused by.
Okay.
Now let's go with caused by.
So if we're talking about like some sort of causal relation, which is like a temporal thing, then that's fine. So now you said that my claim fails logically. So where is the failure logically in having an infinite chain of temporal causation, each thing causing the subsequent thing?
Well, so my best answer to that question, I don't want to get too deep in this because I haven't studied this question as much. Well, first of all, I would say that if everything keeps going back and back and back and back and back infinitely, I would argue that that's a very strong sign that there's an infinite source of the things, because those things can't exist. Those things, it stands to reason, like, where did that come from? Like, where does that whole past come from? And I would argue God, but
each thing comes from the thing before it. That's all.
I don't think that. I think I could grant you that. That's not what I believe, but I think I could grant you that, and then like that's a possible reality maybe, but stuck for a lot.
It seems like it's as well supported, given the that we're using the same evidence to support our claim, to support our inductive argument, as your claim that everything is caused by everything is caused, period, not just caused by physical things.
I guess what I'll say is even if that is true, and I'm not saying that it necessarily is, then on an ontological level, then those dependent things still need to have their existence has to be initiated. It can't just come from...
Yeah, it's initiated by the thing before it.
Okay, but though each of those things independently, as like each of those things individually, like the regress that comes before it, are dependent matter that have to ontologically, so on the level of existence, not causation, be brought into being.
Well, so that's what it means to cause something, that you bring something into being. I mean, right, like I could cause photons to be brought into being by turning on a flashlight, right?
I wouldn't. I would say those two things are similar, but not the exact same. In terms of, you saw, like, you witnessed yourself like doing a bunch of actions that
Yeah,
preceded,
and then photons happen as a result.
and then photons appeared, right? But your cutting on the flashlight is not like a full explanation for the existence of the photons, because the photons are also their existence also involves their relation to each other. They also involve the future particles that they interact with.
Explanation.
But like ontologically, which I would define as like the total.
I think
ontologically,
maybe you're not using that word in the way that I think you're using the word.
maybe, yeah, maybe not. I would define it as like the total existence or something, like the fact of it,
Those
like
photons,
the fact of its being.
Those photons didn't exist and wouldn't have existed but for my action of turning on the flashlight. That's what it means to cause
Perhaps.
something to
Okay.
exist, right?
Yeah, and from a causal level, right? But I'm saying that temporally, once they're here, they the fact of their existence involves so much more than their cause.
Yeah, and why does their relationships with
Sorry,
things,
sorry.
for example, why does their relationship with, like, you know, a galaxy 2 million light years away, why does that require a cause? Why does that relationship require a cause?
So it's a fact of their existence, which
Sure.
indicates like a transcendent. Yeah.
What was sure? It's a fact of their existence. What does that have to do with?
Hold on. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
Okay. Sorry. Your question. You're asking a question.
Yeah, so it's a fact of their existence. Why does that fact need to be caused? Aside from being caused by the photon and the galaxy existing.
Because the existence itself is what I'm trying to say is like the truth
But
of their
I
existence
caused the photons to exist.
is right, but you caused, like, yeah, you're the cause, you're the proximate cause of them coming into being or whatever, like into the universe. But as far as like what the photons are, what sustains them, what
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by sustains them.
organizes their interaction.
Photons are like a particular way of describing a certain excitation of the electromagnetic field. I don't know what you mean by sustains them.
But when I say by sustains them, I'm saying that like allows them to do what they do, pretty much, and like.
Why do they need to be allowed to do what they do? This is a property of this. This is just like what a photon is. A photon is arguably those things that it does.
Hold on. Sorry.
It's not like it seems like you're saying that if God stopped focusing on it for a second, photons would just stop being photons. They would just start behaving like electrons or something. Why? But why would under my worldview? Why would I believe that like you need a sustainer for these properties?
Because all the properties themselves as well are also dependent.
That's debatable, by the way. It's not clear at all if they are. What are they dependent on?
Either each other and or whatever caused them. Like, so from a naturalistic worldview,
how do you know that they have a
them,
cause? Like the properties are properties like of a, you might call it like a quantum field or something like this. So where does how do you know that this has a cause? That this is dependent on anything?
like the laws of physics, for example.
The properties of a field are not dependent on the laws of physics. The laws of physics describe them. I don't think the laws of physics are things that exist.
Because the property that's like the field, for example, if you took like like a field, okay? If you took away a given property or property, if you changed it, it would be other than itself, correct?
It would be a
So, like, it
different
would stop being
field.
itself.
Yeah, so a property is the field, or a field basically is a thing that has these certain properties.
Okay, and if
That's
you
what
took
distinguishes
one of
fields
them,
from one another.
right, exactly. So they change. It's possible for them to be other than what they are, correct?
Well, no, because as far as we can tell, it's not possible for these fields to change, like to change their intrinsic properties.
But they're so like for the Higgs field, for example, right? It's defined by its specific strength, right? If the strength was otherwise, like, we couldn't have matter clumping together, for example, right? Like,
That's probably a bad example.
okay,
Because
But
like
the Higgs
that's
field
via
is what it is
spontaneous
because of its strength.
spontaneous symmetry breaking, and that could have been otherwise. And so like under the
Yes.
many worlds interpretation, there are many universes, many worlds that
Right.
that are otherwise. They're all realized equally. But you want something more like
which
the
is
charge of the
really
electron field.
cool, by the way. And I would direct you and your audience to the very beginning of the Quran, because that was actually kind of how I first
So
fell in love with it.
why not use the charge of the electron as the example here?
Okay, anything that could be possibly otherwise, like at all. Like,
So
you can
when
imagine
you
a
say
world
possibly,
that-
what modal scope are you using? Are you using physically possible? Are you using metaphysically possible? Are you using logically possible?
take any of them, because I'm
Well,
afraid I
it's-
don't.
so it's not physically possible for the
logically,
electron field to be different. I
Logically
don't know
possible.
what metaphysically possible means. And logically
Log-
possible, yeah, sure. It's logically possible that the
okay.
charge could have been
Sure.
otherwise. But it's also
Sure.
like logically possible that God couldn't exist, that God doesn't exist. So
I would disagree. So anyway, logically.
wait, hold on. If you
something-
disagree, then that means that you know that there's a contradiction in the claim God does not exist. Like a logical contradiction. So what's the contradiction?
Well, I do believe that this life is a test. So I do believe that there is space for someone to believe that they've come to a logical conclusion. I think at best it's debatable. Right?
You
At
should.
best
Well,
it's
you
debatable.
shouldn't say it's not logically possible unless you have unless you can prove that it's not logically possible.
Okay, so let's leave that aside for now.
So it's not. It's also not physically possible for the electron field to be different.
Didn't you just say that there's other actualized universes where there's like different
That's the
values to
Higgs
these
field,
fields?
not the electron field. So the Higgs,
Just the Higgs, okay.
so the Higgs field vacuum expectation value, that could have plausibly been different, or rather, it could have been at a different place it's the same vacuum expectation value, but a different place in the complex plane where it realizes that vacuum expectation value. It's a result of spontaneous symmetry breaking. And plausibly, if you take the many worlds interpretation seriously, then all of those possible options are realized actually.
Or realized. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
but in all of those universes, the electron has a charge of 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulombs or whatever it is.
Okay. Let's go back to logic real quick. It's like Dr. Blitz, right? Would you be who you are, literally, like who you are, like in the totality of your existence, if you were missing like a hand or something?
You'd have yeah. So in one sense, yes. In another sense, no.
Right. I'm talking about the other sense in which you wouldn't, right? So like,
Yeah,
you
I would
as
be
you are.
So if I were different, I would be different. Yes,
Exactly.
you've cracked the code.
Yeah. So because it's possible for you to change to be mutable because you're not immutable, then you fail the standard of independence, as I'm using that word. Like,
So
you
when
fail
you
the
say
standard.
right, but it's not physically possible for an electron to change, or for the electron field to change charge. So the analogy doesn't really work. It's not like you could cut off my hand, you can't cut off the charge of the electron field.
Okay, but the electron field could possibly not exist. Is that correct?
Logically possibly, or physically possibly?
Either one, right?
So not physically possibly.
So you believe the electron field is past eternal?
Yeah, I think that's plausible. Or
But
rather,
it's not.
Let
You
me
don't have proof
rephrase.
of that.
I don't necessarily grant that the universe is past eternal, but I do grant that there's never been nothing. I do think
Okay,
that there's
I
never
agree
been
with
nothing,
that.
and
with
insofar
that.
as there's never been nothing, if it's the case that electrons are fundamental, and we have good reason to think that they are, then yes, the electron field would have existed at all points through space-time.
Okay, well, I disagree with like matter or space-time being necessarily eternal. I think that I could grant that and still be like right on what I'm saying, but in any case, The electron field, like you said, could possibly not exist, right? It has possible
No,
non-existence.
so not in my worldview. No, there's no time when the electron field didn't exist.
So you do believe the electron field is past eternal?
No, I don't believe that the universe is necessarily past eternal.
Is the
Whenever there
electron
was
field
time,
Is the electron
the
field
electron
different
field
from-
existed.
Is the electron field different than the universe? Like, I'm trying to just get a clear answer.
Right.
Like,
So the universe doesn't have to be past eternal. If the universe is not past eternal, then the electron doesn't have to be past eternal. The electron
Sure,
field doesn't have
okay.
to be past eternal. It just
Sure,
means
so-
that the electron field would have existed at every moment in time.
okay, so again, the electron field, if the universe is not past eternal, if it's not past eternal, could possibly not exist, right?
No.
What? I thought you just said
Not
it's.
being
Oh wait.
not being past eternal does not mean that there was a time when the universe didn't exist.
Oh, so wait. So you're saying? Okay, I think we're getting like into the specifics of like time now at this point, which is kind
Which
of
is relevant, right?
it is relevant because like once you start getting into pre-eternity and stuff like that, things get really weird. But in any case, either way you slice it, all of these things fail my definition of independence. They're all dependent.
I don't.
And we
So in what way is the electron dependent? The
Because
electron
it
field.
could
I'm
be-
sorry.
it could be other than what it is.
I don't.
It changes.
Why should I
It
grant
changes.
that? The electron
Huh?
field does not change. No.
Do excitations in it occur that don't occur?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The
The
electron field.
the electron field is not the state that the electron field is in. The electron field is
not the
the
state.
electron field is more fundamental than like whatever state the electron field is in.
So what's the definition of the field? Is it just the name, the electron field?
No, I mean like there's a mathematical description.
Okay.
Has certain mathematical properties that we can
You're
measure
saying
and so on and so forth.
you're saying the state of the field changes, but the field doesn't change. That's
Yeah,
That's kind of
yeah.
confusing
I
to
mean,
me, but
like
just-
think of it this way, like, you could say that a guitar string exists, and the guitar string exists and is unchanging, if you will, regardless of what notes you play on the guitar string. It's still a guitar string. It's still like the guitar string, right?
Okay. Okay. Anyway. Okay, wait, I think I see what you're saying. I'm tracking that in terms of the guitar string. But my point is that the electron field then, say it wiggles, it excites, blah, 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 blah. That is some sort of change, right? It experiences change.
Yeah, like the guitar string does.
Okay. The electron field changes, correct?
The state of the electron field changes.
I'm not seeing how that's different, but okay. Because of that, because its state changes, it fails the definition of independence. Okay, does the electron field, is it similar in any way in such that like ontologically its existence is defined in relation to other things? Like, for example, you might have an electron field, you might have like a weak field or whatever grounds those.
It's defined in terms of certain properties that it has. That's it.
Okay, but the electron field exists alongside other fields that make up the universe, correct?
Lots of things, lots of
According
different
to
things exist.
QFT?
Sure. Yeah.
According to QFT? Okay. And these things have like relational properties,
Yeah,
right?
they can talk to each other. Sure.
They can talk to each other. Okay. For that reason, they also fail.
So what's your definition of dependent then?
Dependent means that on any level, from like the most basic fact of its existence, which includes its interdependence with everything else, all the way up to like its states. For example, it changes. It could be different. It could be logically different than what it is.
So
Like, it could be other than
So
what it is.
typically, when I think of the word, if it could be logically different than what it is, well, then I could just say, well, God could have been a jerk. That's logically possible.
Okay.
And then God
Well,
is dependent using that definition.
in that way, so I think so we need to make a really important like epistemic and perspective distinction here. You're using God as like a noun that you can you're using God as like a noun that you can plug in to a logical formula. But I'm saying from the definition of reality, he's defined as, or one of his names, I should say, one of his names is that which transcends the quality of dependence, right? So
Okay, so so the definition of an electron is equivalent to its, to its properties, and the definition of the electron field, I should say, it's defined as a field with certain properties, and so then logically it couldn't be different, because if it was different, it wouldn't be the electron field.
Right. So there's two aspects, right? There's like the state or appearance of the thing, and then I guess its essence, like what it really, really is. You're saying the like the essence of the field, like what it fundamentally is, doesn't change even if it's like,
I mean, just by definition, the electron field is a field with certain properties. If you have a field with different properties, it's not the electron field.
okay. But if I were to take the electron field, right? Say it's logic. Say is it logically possible for you to have like a knob, right, that you could turn and like tune the properties of the electron field, like it's whatever.
It would just stop being the electron field.
Okay, but is it possibly mutable?
No, the electron field is a thing with a certain set of properties. So if you change the properties, then it's not that thing anymore.
Okay, so is it possible for so you're saying so it is possible for it to come out of existence then? You could take it, remove something from it, and then it comes out of existence as what it is and changes
No, it
to
just
something
wouldn't.
else.
So we're asking about whether it's logically possible for like if you made the electron, if you took the electron field and then you just asked, like, you turned a knob and you're like, okay, now I want to make it minus
Right.
2 times 10 to
Right.
the minus 19th coulombs. It just wouldn't be the electron
Right.
field anymore.
Okay, exactly. That's my exact point.
Okay, now could I take so
in that,
so
in that scenario,
similarly,
could I turn
God's knob on power? Could I turn it down to 0?
Like you said, God's power?
Yeah.
No,
Logically.
that's my point.
why
No,
not?
no, you can't.
Why not?
Because he is eternally defined as that which you cannot, which is immutable.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
what-
so if I did mute him, if I did change him, then he would cease to exist, because he would be mutable then. So God can
Right.
logically cease to exist.
No.
Oh, but
I'm saying God is the only thing that's his, and that's why it's very beautiful and profound the way these names are organized in the verse I refer to you, because he is the only thing, he's defined as the only thing which cannot have like
So-
possible
so
he is not, his existence
is
isn't
there
possible, it's
is there
necessary.
a
It's necessary.
So what's the logical contradiction in
His
making God not exist, for example?
Okay, so if God doesn't exist, then you go back to Astaghfirullah, first of all. Then you go back to a universe where everything is dependent. And if everything is if everything is
Well, A,
contingent,
that doesn't follow. You could have some other independent source that's not God, right?
I don't know.
You could have like mathematical Platonism or something like this.
Well, I guess if you're ready to concede that there's like an independent
No,
necessary
I'm not.
existence or something.
But I'm saying that it doesn't even follow from your worldview that if God ceases to exist, that everything is dependent.
Yeah,
Because
so
to be
no,
and to be clear, it's like
my-
I'm still not clear what your definition of dependent was. Is it just logically you could imagine that the thing is otherwise?
correct. That it could literally be
Okay,
otherwise.
I'm logically imagining that God is otherwise right now. I'm doing it.
Okay, but again, I think it's really a perspective thing. It's like literally in this real world, in this existence, God remains that which cannot come, like has no possible existence. So like here's the worldview, right? Everything has like possible existence or could come out of existence, right? So it's therefore contingent. Okay.
Hold on.
God
Hold
is
on.
the-
Hold on. Hold on. No. You are now equivocating. So you said so. On the one hand, you've been talking about dependency relations, right? On the
Yeah.
other hand, now you just brought about like possible worlds contingency. These are different things.
Oh, perhaps. Say that one more time, please.
So initially we were talking about dependency relations, and now you just brought like what as far as like whether a thing is dependent or independent, and now you just completely changed to talk about possible worlds, like possible world semantics, and like whether or not a thing could exist in another possible world, or if it could not exist in another possible world, or if it necessarily exists in all possible worlds. We are now changing the topic.
Okay.
So
Well-
if you want to talk about dependency relations, then we can talk about dependency relations. But unless you just mean dependent as in contingent in the possible world sense.
If the
Those are
possible
two
world
different notions.
Okay, it's two different notions. I would say in either, I guess the fundamental point I'm trying to get across is that take either notion. If there's such thing as
So in the dependency notion, the electron field
Mm-hmm.
is not dependent on anything. Unless you can give me an example of something it's dependent on, right? Like it's
well,
not
I would say-
ontologically grounded by something, for example. It's not caused by something. So in that sense, it's not really dependent.
In that sense, then again, I think if we go back into that conversation, I would say that we would start crossing, or like, I don't think our definitions of ontology are necessarily the exact same, because I would say that it is ontologically dependent, even if you
What is it
believe,
ontologically dependent on?
even if I were to grant that it was not necessarily caused at some point in the
What is
past.
it ontologically dependent on?
Have like antecedents.
What is it
electron-
ontologically dependent on?
The electron field,
Yeah.
the specific, I would say like the properties that it has, like
No, but the properties define the electron field. There's no ontology of the properties absent the electron field, so there can't be an ontological dependence there.
or like, so I would like, okay, maybe this is where we're saying you're claiming that I'm mixing things up. I would say that it's ontologically dependent, because it could possibly not exist.
Yeah, so what you're talking about is, yes, so that is the mix-up. So that's not dependent, that's contingent, right? Dependent means that there is some deeper thing that ontologically grounds it, or that there is some prior thing that causally produces it. That's what dependent means. If
Right.
you mean dependent in just like contingent, well, now we have to talk about what modal scope you're in. Are you talking about logically contingent, physically contingent, or some other thing?
I would tend towards logically, because I think that's more fundamental. But then to really quick tie the knot on dependency, is that first of all, it's completely from a scientific perspective, like a very valid position that the electron field was caused. By the way, we don't know for sure.
We have
would you
no
disagree with
evidence supporting that, and all of the evidence we have is that the electron field, actually by definition, it permeates the entirety of space-time.
Okay.
If it didn't, it wouldn't be a field.
So then going to the perspective of space-time, I have to go in a couple minutes, by the way. And we've been talking
That's
for a
fine.
while, but space-time in and of itself, it is a completely valid scientific position that space-time is finite, as in not past eternal.
Yeah, sure, you could have a finite
In which
Hawaiian
case-
space-time.
In which case, the electron field would be dependent in some way on the existence
no,
of space-time, because if space-time didn't, so
No.
if space-time didn't, if space-time
Well, okay,
wasn't,
so look, you could in principle say, it depends on what your view of what space-time is. If your view is that space-time is fundamental, then there is a and this is like now debatable, like whether or not, like, is the matter more fundamental, or is the space-time more fundamental? That's like hotly contested. You could hold the position that space-time is fundamental and that the matter
for the
fields
space-time-
depend on the space-time. But then I
Right,
just make
right.
this entire argument about the space-time being fundamental and non-dependent. I was working with this kind of standard view that like it's the matter that's fundamental. And so it doesn't really depend on the space-time. Space-time is something that like emerges out of its, more deeper quantum behavior. But like we could take either way. Either way, if you want to take the space-time to be dependent, then or to be fundamental, then that's fine too. Then okay, the space-time is not contingent then. It's not dependent. Okay. I'm sorry.
Wait, not okay. Yeah, I would say it is contingent. So in that perspective, then, are you saying the space-time? Let's stick with dependency. Are you claiming that scientists have a consensus or some sort of proof that space-time is like past eternal or has always been? Is that me? Bro, what the heck? Am I muted or is Blitz muted?
Oh, I'm muted. I'm sorry. I'm so dumb. You would have to show me how space-time is muted. Or sorry, you'd have to show me how space-time is dependent, not just say, "Oh, do you have proof that it's independent?" Right? If you're trying to convince me, and like this is the worldview that I hold, then you have to show how my worldview doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, I guess, but like I don't think there's anything wrong with like taking an indifferent stance and saying like, okay, look, we're having this discussion. It is undetermined right now whether or not scientifically, I would say it's undetermined, whether the universe is past eternal. So it is extremely feasible that it started at some point or had a beginning in the sense of, time.
And it's just as feasible that it didn't, in which case, in which case I'm not obligated, like this is not like a proof of the existence of God, right? It's not even evidence of the existence of God then. Because like it is entirely consistent with all of the science that we have to say that space-time is not dependent.
That space-time is what?
Not dependent.
Not dependent. Okay. And so boom. So now we've limited the option space. Like so, we have two options. Either it's dependent or not dependent. If we say
yes, everything is either dependent or not dependent. That's true.
Right. If we say that it's not dependent from a causal sense, okay, if we grant that, then it still.
By the way, it doesn't make sense to say that space-time causally depends on something, because causations happen within space-time.
Like
so
yeah,
there has to be some other sense in which space-time is dependent.
Right, and then when I would invoke the argument of contingency. Okay.
Okay, but contingency is not the same as dependency.
But I'm saying, okay, this is a perfect time to wrap up because there's like a fire drill at my office. Okay. I will conclude by.
Where to go?
Okay, thank you. Okay, real quick, I just want to leave with this. Thank you very much. In either world, in either.
You were cutting out real bad.
Allah's name is.
I can't hear anything you're saying.
There you go.
You good?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm saying, so like whichever way you slice it, and this is one of the really beautiful things about Islam and why I encourage you to read and reflect on the Quran is because one of Allah's name is the Fatir, which means the one who brings into existence, like the originator, the initiator, right? So even if you like want to have the worldview that like the universe is past the independent or something like that, whatever it's called, not caused, it still needs something to start it, or like it still needs to be ontologically brought into being. It can't have.
Why? Yeah.
Because it can't. Because it's existential. It can't existentially. It can't ground itself. Existentially.
Does God ground itself?
Yes, and He is the only thing that does that.
Okay, so it's possible for a thing to ground itself?
Yes, God.
Okay, so it's possible for a thing to ground itself. So I don't know why
yes.
I couldn't just say that, yeah, the universe or space-time or whatever it is like the fundamental grounder of things.
The name of the fundamental grounder of things is God, and you can only have
No, it
one
could be space-time.
fundamental
It could be
ground.
space-time, and space-time doesn't have a name, or it doesn't have a mind, right? It doesn't have any of the properties of God, except it could just be the fundamental thing.
Well, first of all, it's not, because it lacks other necessary properties that the fundamental grounder would have.
Oh, well, that you
But-
haven't shown.
Yeah, that would take another long time. But I think like the most profound thing is the fact that, you know, I think before I had to let off, I just want to leave with this, if you don't mind. A lot of people have like an imagination of God, or they limit God either to like a noun that fits into some sort of like logical puzzle or the other, or like you I think the fact, even the fundamental fact that Islam provides provides valid answers to all of these questions over the past 1400 years, and has not been able to be disproven, and provides a very parsimonious, I think is the word, and elegant solution to these like very difficult questions, I think lends itself as a strong proof to it philosophically. There's a lot of other proofs, and there's a lot of other really good reasons to just look into it. And so I would encourage you to do that.
Yeah, I'll leave you with one question, with some homework.
Sure.
If it's the case that the moon split in two, why didn't the Chinese see it?
The Chinese?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Or I don't know why they
Something that you
didn't
should
write
think
about it. Well, it's also so as we can go into that.
No, we can't, because you have to go and I have to go. You were leaving me with
Okay.
something. I figured I'd leave you with something to think about.
Okay, well, you don't. Well, to answer your question, you don't know that the Chinese didn't see it. So,
Yeah, we do. They didn't write it.
In
They
the
didn't
first
write anything down.
and it's not necessary that they did see it for that miracle to have still happened.
Okay, this seems like special pleading then, because then it just seems like it didn't happen.
What do you say?
It just seems like it didn't happen then. If people didn't see
No,
it seems like it
not-
didn't happen. I thought you had to go.
But you're saying that if the Chinese didn't see it, then it didn't have to happen.
Yeah.
I have a 2:00 hard stop, but I have a
Yeah,
2
I mean,
o'clock
like,
hard stop.
look.
You're saying
If
you're
this
saying
is
that
the
if
thing
the
that
Chinese-
actually
you're
happened,
saying
then
if
other
the
people would have
Chinese
seen it and written it
didn't
down.
Not necessarily. That's not necessarily true.
The Chinese
You know
were
how
very
many,
good
you know how many
astronomers.
events in? Okay, that's
They
fine.
recorded basically all of the astronomical events, like, for the last few thousand years.
Okay, that's a very hyperbolic statement. They did not
Like
record
all of the notable ones, right? And the moon
we
splitting
don't-
in
we
two would
don't
be pretty
record-
notable.
We don't record less than 1/10% of all the astronomical events. That
I said
doesn't make any
notable,
sense.
but
Anyway, this is bad. This is bad rage bait, bro. SubhanAllah.
okay.
Have a good day. Why?
Bad rage bait? I mean, like, no, it's actually like a legit argument. Like, look, we know like it says in the Quran that like where the moon was when it was split in two, it was in the east, which means that it would have been overhead by the Chinese. The Chinese were famously very, very good astronomers. They recorded in fact, they recorded the first known supernova, right? They recorded like when there were eclipses, like they recorded all of this stuff. And so if it would have been directly overhead for the Chinese, then one would expect them to have recorded it, but they didn't, which makes it unlikely that it happened at all. Now, I'm going to read some super chats. Unfortunately, I do have to go because I have a dentist appointment, which I'm not looking forward to, but I do have a dentist appointment. So let's read some super chats and then we will call it a day. So from Mindos, we have €2. I used to be an atheist is going on the bingo card. Oh yeah, it absolutely should. That if I had a bingo card, I would put that on there because it's super funny. From WizNilly, P with the $5. Thank you so much. You've done it. The dumbest guest, worse than light years, and the physics genius who isn't impressed with quirks. Where can you go from here? Look, he was trying. I wouldn't say that he was like a dumb guest. He was trying. Then we have 2 British pounds from Von Doodle. Defo YouTube Muslim apologist notes going around. Yeah, I'm familiar with these arguments. These are not new. We have a hat from Dima. Is it Dima Bonad? I don't know how to read your last name. I'm sorry. But thank you for the hat. We have $2 from Save My Soul. Dude yapped for 30 minutes to do special pleading. SMH. Yeah. Contingency arguments often become that, yeah. $5 from Chris P. Thank you, Chris. Assuming you can change something doesn't mean you can. So saying the electron field is dependent because you assume you can change it is wrong. Yeah, so there is an issue with, you know, logically, can it be changed? Physically, can it be changed? And so on. So these are all distinct ways that you have to be careful and you have to think about. And then from Grimlock, with the $10, because I can, don't forget to hydrate. Good point. Grimlock over here, single-handedly keeping me hydrated. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is all the super. Oh, let me check my phone for cash apps and things I may have missed otherwise, because I often forget that. I don't see anything via email, so I think that we're in the clear. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I will be around tomorrow for some, maybe, flat earth debates. By the way, before I go, two things. One, if you're 18 plus, join the Discord server. There's links in the various places, in the description on YouTube, in the link tree in my bio on TikTok. Definitely join the Discord server if you're 18 plus. Secondly, I send out announcements and stuff there. Secondly, if you want access to my debate notes, which are here, these things, if you want access to these, which I update on the regular, I change, they have arguments and stuff about young earth, you know, MAGA, flat earth, conspiracy stuff. If you want access to those, there are two ways to do it. One, become a Patreon on Patreon. Any level will do, $5 minimum, whatever. $5 a month, you get access and I'll update it and so on. Second way, become a member on either YouTube channel. It's like $4 or $5 a month or something like this. So if you like that, if you want them, use them in your own debates or whatever, go ahead and join. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow.